so we don't have to talk about current events or news. We can talk about sex robots. Thank you, ALS.
No, 'cause I didn't want to actually talk about those. I was using that as a facetious euphemism.
Thank you, ALS.
Stop thanking me for something I wasn't intending to talk about. I was using that as a facetious euphemism.
For a second, could you mute your YouTube stream?
Stop thanking me for something I wasn't intending to talk about. For a second.
Echo.
For a second, can you mute your YouTube stream? I'll
I
check
think she
back.
did already.
Yeah, mute your YouTube stream.
No, not yet. She might be kind of AFK. But
You know,
we'll
it'd
see.
be ironic if it just turns out that we end up talking about news now. We just sort of like, oh yeah, we forgot to talk about this. You know, like, oh yeah, we forgot to talk about this too. And
Time to switch back. Time to switch back.
we can't switch back. There's no going back now.
You'd have to wait till tomorrow's after hours. Okay.
There hasn't really been a lot going on aside from like those two things. I haven't even heard much from the UK. Because it's been
5 years. I forgot.
5 years. 5 more years with fucking Theresa May.
No. Free press, free Assange.
A bowl of freshly cut watermelon.
Nice.
Alright.
Don't even... You know, here's the thing. Like, I've mentioned before, I work at a hotel. And like for the last week or so, like I've been helping some of the housekeepers gut their rooms, strip rooms, and like it's like every 3 or 4 rooms, I'm finding like these giant halves of watermelon sitting in the fridges of these rooms. I'm not joking. Like, it's just like an entire freaking half of a watermelon, just completely unfinished.
Yeah.
I'm finding towels soaked in watermelon juice in the bathroom for no reason whatsoever.
At least it's watermelon juice.
I love watermelon.
I'm not even entirely convinced that that's watermelon juice.
It could be leftover
Taste it.
sex robot juice.
No, dude, this is America. Nobody owns sex robots, much less, even fewer. Look, let me put it this way: few people even own a Dakimakura, much less a sex robot from Japan. Unless you're
Hi,
trying
Ariel.
to be an ironic
Hi,
meme on
Ariel.
purpose.
How you doing? I get in here and as soon as I sign in, I'm hearing about Japanese.
Sex robots, sex robots.
I'm like, what? I just walk into.
Oh yeah, I have to show you something.
Today's episode, we discuss how the Japanese people really need to rethink their priorities.
Well, yeah.
Look what
Look. Sex robots. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Ariel.
Here we go, Eric.
Turd!
What was that?
There's a sex robot.
Oh, it's
Are you serious?
Yep.
oh yeah, but this amiibo is named. Guess what it's named? Triggered.
Nerd!
Yes, it's doing the pose. Triggered.
Just close your eyes. It feels really good, believe it or not.
Oh my god. What the hell?
God, what's going on? Seriously, what is going on?
This chat is starting to get weirder than any clop I've ever read.
Just don't look at it. That's the key.
Imagine it's something else.
Yep. Maybe drink a little bit beforehand.
No. Oh.
I wish Snork was able to get back on. I want to talk to him more about some of his the composting, worms, and all this other
I
stuff.
heard him talking about the hydroponics. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I really wanted to hear so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got. I compost. I put it out. Everything, anything that's organic goes out in the yard. I'll either dig a hole and bury it in there, or just toss it in a specific area. Now I got a mystery plant, but I think it's a giant watermelon vine. It's huge. The leaves are they're big, big leaves, and big golden yellow blossoms. So it's just growing, and I'm like, well, there you go. I mean, it's that Taoist idea, the garbage from the flowers and the flowers from the garbage. It's like you put the organic matter into the ground and it gives you more. It's amazing how the earth is just, it's everything. Nature is just hardwired to recycle itself. It's incredible. And I didn't even have to plant this darn vine. This watermelon just starts growing. I'm like, damn, all right. I can't wait to see what happens. See if
I heard that I figure somewhere that said that if people scavenged their available local nuts and berries and things, they would be able to account for a fifth of all food or a sixth of all food or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to be survivalist, you need to focus on nuts because that's where all the fats are at, and seeds and things like that.
I love sunflower seeds, and I love the sunflower kernels. I go nuts for them.
You and my chickadees, oh my word, those birds, they know me. And if those sunflower seeds, if that feeder isn't full, they come and they flutter around the window, and they the noise until I come outside and start filling the feeder up, and they're up in the tree looking at me while I'm doing it. And they're just, and as soon as I step one step back, they come right down and they get right on there and grab the sunflower seeds and go back to the tree. And you can see them holding it and just knocking it open with their beak. And I mean, it's just,
I always wanted to do a project. I saw it in a show. It wasn't quite really what it was. It was more like, okay, the end of the world came, so people have to work together to start up a community or a town and survive.
Yeah.
But what we do instead is buy a plot of land somewhere, get people to go there, and start building up a sustainable town that doesn't need money or outside influence, and just keep expanding. So everything's trying to use renewable energy, trying to grow enough.
If you sell your car, you get 5 months for free. If you give them your car.
Yeah. Anyways, that was just an idea that I always thought would be kind of cool. Is people could come in, they could leave, but they do their part, and then someone else can come in, take it over, or
How to set up your own anarchist commune in 3 easy steps.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
I want to do crowdsourcing, and getting people together. People who have property, people who want to do gardening, and people who just want cheap local food and stuff, and then work also build community and stuff. And lots here or there, and that's the best kind of land that hasn't been used. It has all its original nutrients and has probably anything that hasn't been farmed since before the 70s probably would be pesticide free enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And basically, instead of starting off by bulldozing everything over, try to just kind of keep what's
natural
there.
resources.
Yeah.
But then you could sell enough as well. Good organic vegetables or whatever it is, because there's so many things that you on your own, in growing and producing, for herbs for tinctures or for soaps or whatever it would be. But I don't know. I forgot what that should be. Apologize.
No worries, man.
Well, Eric, now that I know you like the sunflower seeds, I'm going to have to start calling you my little chickadee.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The triggered chickadee.
They are triggered.
Triggered.
Another man, you're just a little chicken. Cheep, 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 cheep.
I guess I was just
They all
saying,
get mad. They get mad at something. All of them will get
you can sell it for a lot of money. I think part of anything like that would be making sure you had testing means of testing and making sure it's certified. It's like safe to consume and hopefully organic. And I don't see the obstacle of selling and competing in the market. And then everybody likes local.
Hello.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, Stephanie.
Los Santos seems super formidable and like huge and giant, but if people like in a social media sort of like whatever had more community gardens, I mean, I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
Who's talking
Why
right now?
not?
That's Ben Green.
It's not. Oh yeah. Okay. There it goes. It's only showing me like 3 boxes at a time, so I couldn't see which box was lighting up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have different type of views when you're in Ring Central. I
This is
wish.
still really cool. I'm very new to this sort of thing, so it's all a little confusing. But yeah. So you guys are talking about plants?
We just kind of talk about whatever pops up.
Can I talk about the thing now?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Thing of the thing.
Okay. So what I wanted to do was I do this convention every year. I used to run all of the entertainment, but I trained somebody else to do it so I could start working on my art again. But because I run this show for like 7 years, the convention chair basically lets me do whatever I want. And it's like a pretty big show now. It started out really small, and now it's about like 7,000, 8,000 attendants usually in this big convention center in Texas, and like multiple rooms and everything. And I sometimes get to recommend the guest. And I know that Tim had been saying before that he wanted to do more things, not just in politics, but like they've been having, I have an idea how I could get it where they see the potential, and he could also do politics that weekend, like kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone, is that he could cover the event, and the con-chair would probably be interested because of the amount of followers he has on Twitter. Like they haven't really, they're doing really well on Facebook, and they're doing pretty good on Instagram, but they haven't really gotten like a lot of people on Twitter. So they might be, because you can't advertise on Twitter. So it's like you just have to either get that organically or know somebody else who will talk up you or your event or whatever. Like Twitter's kind of a who you know sort of thing, or like who you connect with kind of thing, it seems to be. Or if something just virals and like it happens to have a Twitter share feature. But so I'm thinking I have an angle to like recommend Tim, and when you're a guest at this show, like if they invite you in, they take care of accommodations and stuff. So we would fly Tim out there. We wouldn't have to crowdfund for it like other events, and he could cover the water crisis they have there, because they've been having their water poisoned in Corpus Christi, just like in Flint and oh God, where were the other places where they started having like water problems?
Chicago, Philadelphia.
Before that, I was Washington D.C. actually.
Well, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but Corpus Christi, they've been putting like chemicals in their waters, and they keep finding it having problems. And Jordan tried to cover it earlier, but he wasn't able to stay there very long. And it's a constant thing where they didn't have water for several days because they were trying to fix it. And this has happened like twice in the last 2 years. And so it is something that many people who run this convention have put up with, and people who live there. Like I saw them posting about it on their Facebooks and stuff when I use Facebook when it happened, and on Twitter. So I was just like, okay, well, how do I get them all to meet? And because Dan's usually very busy, but he was like, we should do some meetings or something over Skype, and he still hasn't quite learned Skype, but they already have a RealmsCon YouTube channel, I believe. So I could be like, get on your RealmsCon YouTube channel, meet us up at this place at this time. I want to introduce you to this guy, Ebon, who has this thing, this chat program, and Tim Black. Like we could suggest a time for Tim Black and see if he, well, I mean, first I would want to talk to Tim and see if he's still interested, because he said he wanted to do other things, but we never really got into any more details than that.
I think the next step we can do, and it's the only way for it to happen, because Tim Black can only be in one place at one time. He can't be everywhere. But
Right.
just kind of like how...
What? I thought he was omnipresent.
Jimmy Dore.
I thought it was multiple man or something.
Yeah.
Him is everywhere.
But you know how certain late night talk show hosts have the cameraman go out, especially David Letterman did this a lot, and David Letterman would be on the other end saying, hey, who is this? And they go, this is David Letterman, what are you doing? and they're like, "Oh, hi, David Letterman, I love you," etc. So he'd go out and talk to people. But what we would have is people who go there, shoot live with whatever camera that they got. Some people may have some really good cameras.
Oh, you're talking about at the event covering the water and doing the convention. Well, if I convinced him to give him his plane ticket like 2 days early to cover Corpus Christi things, because they do charities too. He could cover the charities, the water situation. He could cover the politics before the convention, and then film at the convention. And like they could probably set him up like a table or a booth or something to do his show live at the convention. To, like host.
Yeah, I'm saying if he can't, the secondary solution would be to have someone that get people who have cameras, mics, and things like that can set up, and they interview like key people. They go out and actually talk with certain family members, and they try to coordinate with Tim, saying, "Hey, can you go live with us while we're filming, and you can talk with them directly." And
oh yeah, like he could Skype in kind of thing. Yeah, I mean that would be something if he wasn't like if for some reason he was like, I need to bring my whole because I don't know, he's up in the north, right? Then this event's all the way in Texas in Corpus Christi, so I think they would be willing to get him a plane ticket. But if he wanted to like take his family, I know that that's going to be a ridiculously long road trip because I've gone from Florida to there and it's 18 hours. So up north to all the way down to Texas is going to be even longer, like probably over 20+ hour drive if you were to try to do that.
It's not just the plane ticket. It's the hotel stay, it's the food, it's the transportation.
They provide that stuff. That's what I'm saying is they provide the accommodations. So it wouldn't be like, the events he covers for politics where he has to like crowdfund. It'd be like if the con chair says, yes, we want this guy, they get his hotel, they get there's a green room with food in it every day for any of the guests that are there, and then they provide the transportation. And some people like bands drive in, and some people get a flight, but it has to be arranged ahead of time. So this is why I'm like, okay, I should probably talk to him about now because it's almost July, and they usually like book everything about 6 months in advance. It's an October show.
Okay.
July, August, September, October. Actually, it's 4 months away. So it would either be for this year or for next year. But it'd be something that I was like, that would be a really good thing for him to do, or for us to like try to introduce them at least. Because it's almost, it may be. He may have already done all his guests for this year. Because they usually do 6 months in advance. So I'm a little late on it, tail end of June. But he may still have budget left for it for this year. But
he could always interview Rick Perry and Ted Cruz in Texas. I'm sure people would love that.
While you're there, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be like if he decided to do that, he would probably want to drive there or get Rick Perry and Ted Cruz to come to Realmstown.
Oh, they wouldn't want to show
up.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys.
Okay.
Is there any ways that you can allow links in the chat for a moment? Snork is trying to get in, and he needs a link posted in the chat.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Trying this whole
If you
time.
can allow permissions for it for a second.
He can't because in the description box he can go directly there.
Yeah. It should be in the description.
There we go. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem.
No, it's cool. All right.
So yeah, that's basically it. Evan is just making. The first step would be talking to you about would you be willing to host. And so I was trying to like send all those messages, and you're like, just come in the chat. It was getting too long, and that's why I wanted to come in the chat because I was like, this is a lot to say, but it'd be really easy to say like just to you either on Skype or on here in like 5 minutes versus like typing up this like book of information. DM. So if we can arrange next, I got to talk to Tim, and if he likes the idea, then I got to talk to the con chair, and we try to arrange a meeting to talk about ideas for this because I think that Daniel the con chair would be interested, and he might want to talk to you about this because like his staff may be really interested in this kind of thing. Is what was this program again? Ring Central
meeting, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other video teleconferencing things out there, but they all have their pluses and minuses.
Well, this is pretty cool. But if you know a lot about that, he might be interested to talk because he's been for a while wanting to do something where people can other ways that people can talk easily to each other, because people work on this from different places. There's a staff in Texas, one in Florida, and I'm in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have anybody up north yet, but if Tim got involved in it, then we'd have somewhere like people from everywhere. We do have some people in California, but those are mostly like voice actors and stuff. So
Okay.
they're not really staff. They're usually other guests that come. So
Yeah. And
How does that work, Stephanie? Because I know when I've done, music performing, how that works is like they really want you there. Like you said, they'll pay your flight and they'll pay you to come out.
Mhm.
And that's a really good situation if you can get that.
Mhm.
So, maybe for Tim, it could be the same way where if he gets enough
Well-
demand. I don't know, is there a way that, you or me or anybody, could kind of plug him and almost act as an agent, to kind of say, you want this?
Well, I mean, it's like Daniel takes my suggestions for guests, and it's like sometimes, like I recommended Charles Martinet, the voice of Super Mario, like 3 years ago, and he finally got him last year. But then Nintendo had him go to some conference in Japan in October, so he has to prioritize Nintendo. But it was like he'll take my suggestions because he finally took the suggestion and they worked it out. But then it was like, oh God, they were promoting the new Nintendo theme parks that's going to be there. That Universal's going to put one in Japan. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, that's from my experience being a musician, it's always better if someone else promotes you rather than you being like, hey, I'm really good.
Well, that's why I'd call him up. Because it's like,
if someone else says, hey, they're really good, it's like they take it
Well,
more serious.
that was the other reason that I was like, yeah, bring him into this ring, because you're all fans of Tim. So it's like, hey, check out this program. Eben helps Tim with his show, and these are all fans of Tim's, and like people could come into the chat and let
well, the
Eben and Tim have the main talking with the con chair, but like so he sees that Tim has a lot of fans and stuff. That how this works is like several people can be let in, and we could have a bunch of people at first, and then say, okay, we got to talk, directly with like Tim and Eben and the con chair, just so that he gets an idea like how. Because this guy's a really busy guy. He works with like 30 different guests each year. But he's always willing to like see new things that I'm showing him that will help him get the word out on social media more. And to answer your question, Coco, how it works is that like some cons, a person will approach the con to try to get exposure. And if they live in the area, that's usually what they do with their local guests is they will pay their own accommodations if they get free tickets and like a space to do a concert or something or do a panel. Another way the cosplayers do it is they go and win contests to become relevant, and then they either get picked up, like they get noticed, or they will put out information and they'll decide to hire them because they do enough panels or entertainment or something.
See, here's some pluses to it. Well, Tim wants to eventually grow a network and do things that a network does, which is do different things than just politics and news. Is have stuff like conventions.
Yeah, I remember that, and that's why I was like, I wonder if he'd be interested. If they'd be interested, because the other thing I was going to say, sorry to interrupt, Evan, but is that the con chair, like, it's either if you're industry and he likes your portfolio and your work, and he sees something there that he thinks would attract people, or if your social media following is big enough. A lot of cons are inviting people who have that because they know that it basically advertises the con for free for someone to go, I'm going to be a guest at blah, blah, blah con. If they're like blasting it on their social media all the time with a link to the con, it's like free advertising for them. They're technically paying for it because they're paying for the guest, but then the guest gets to, it's an exchange, like the con gets the exposure, the guest gets the exposure.
Yep.
So, that's how the bigger guests get booked and get paid for, is that the con looks at it and goes, that person's going to sell tickets. So we're going to,
And here's the second part I was going to say, sorry, Ariel, these cons are good organizing events that's really needed for media and politics. So if we get them on board and we're on board with them, they can actually show us how to start these conventions, how to make it grow, how to make it sustainably with just how efficient like certain amount of money can go, whether it's the people, like who pays for it, how's it organized. I think it's also a great step because what Tim does, what I do, what we do, it's not organizing, It's
Right.
kind of connecting in a way through an intermediary like the internet, but then actually get people to fly over and start events. Like we could do our own convention based on the guy who organizes it to do a similar thing to the People's Summit, but have it so it's not organized by dark money. It's organized by everyone that pitches in,
Like
right?
fun money.
Yeah. And it wouldn't just be on politics. It could be some icebreakers like cosplay events or gaming
Well, this
events.
con is definitely, it's multi-genre entertainment.
Okay.
But they have several charities that I think if he covered that and covered local issues, they'd be interested in that. Like he could do that separately since
Yeah.
there's 3 days of the weekend, and they'd probably be willing to like fly him in 2 days early or something, or like get him
Yeah.
a hotel a day early if he decides to go by car or whatever.
Like it could be also serious things like political stuff or climate stuff or news media. The difference of indie media stuff, and then later it's the after hours and the anything goes types of play segments, right? So I mean, the setup is
Because if you have a network, then you're going to need to cover multiple things, not just politics, but maybe like
yeah.
Entertainment and stuff like that.
Oh no.
especially if it's like there's a lot of like crossover, bleed over with arts and entertainment, or there used to be like activism, like the Beatles used to do it a lot. It used to be in like music a lot. You see it now with some of these people. They made all the Bernie songs and stuff, but I don't see it as big as it used to be. But like people are trying. They're starting to make artwork. Like WikiLeaks started the WikiLeaks Art Force.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have like a network where people can do some sort of political art, like where it's like a person could play their song on your network or something.
Yeah. Well, I got my share of Celtic rabble-rousing political songs.
Let's hear one.
I've always been into that kind of stuff, but it's funny. Several years back, I got to meet Joan Baez, and she was like a massive, activist musician. Funny enough, she's also a Capricorn. She's born on like this 2 days or so before or after my mom, like in the same year. It's kind of crazy. And I grew up with my mom loving, Joan Baez and Simon and Garfunkel and Peter, Paul and Mary, and all those kind of groups that you'd see them being kind of interwoven into whatever kind of political stuff was going on at the time. Joan Baez, she marched with MLK. I mean, she always has been. She still is. She's in her 70s and she's not slowing down. So it's really cool how, that's always been a thing, because it's funny how I've always said, it's like you could stand there and yell the words all day, but you put it in a song and more people kind of listen to it. Oh, this is pretty, or whatever. And they listen and then they're like, oh, damn. They get the words and it's like, ah. So yeah. I
Really
really
when people put a little bit of political activism in their songs, especially anti-war. Like I think that's why I'm kind of such a big fan of Beatles and David Bowie, is they both did that a lot.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Oh, and Queen too. Forgot about
Oh, Sandra Lee's got a good name for it. TBTV Palooza.
Palooza.
I was gonna say.
Nice, Sandra.
I think that there's no such. I mean, like, putting out content isn't the point. It should be about putting out like super content, and that like, we should have like things got to be like not failing to be cover enough angles of it and think of it critically enough, and like getting all the essential things laid out and discussed as best as possible, but also just not going too far in making everything like really concise and dense and sort of and just quick and stuff, and so not wasting anybody's time, because people really appreciate that, something put together really well, so or that really saves them time, a bunch of information kind of fast, maybe even like cuts and clips and fancy cinematography tricks and I don't know, comedy and stuff. So I think comedy, comedy is like Jon Stewart. He got paid to just like watch Fox News with his friends and say, that's absurd, I'm gonna prove that, I'm gonna call that out, and like got paid a lot of money for over a decade there. I think it's not just seeing what's messed up, but also making it funny. And there's a lot that's understood in comedy. With humor, you can sort of like painting that picture says 1,000 words, and like that you can you can say a lot with less time. And so like putting together, even if it's a serious, like covering a serious topic, putting it together a little piece well, and having a bunch of that together, either a choice, a list of that, or like it airing and being back to back.
Oh, crap.
I used to say real quick, I'll go on one more breath here. I used to say that there is no TV anymore. There's no like what's on. You can't like go over your 20th house on Thanksgiving. It's like what's on, or like what's on TV or anything. But it's just like because everything's on. In some sense, you can access it on Hulu or YouTube or something. But at the same time, like I guess I remember thinking that through slightly or a little bit when I could, and just thinking like, well, I guess except for like news and sports and certain things, there like you will have to have like. It's relative to a time that airs or something. And also we know about like Tim Black's show or something. It'll be airing at like 6 o'clock or whatever. So I guess that's not entirely gone. The things that air, it's just that there's infinite things that can be airing at 6 o'clock. Or well, it's 6 o'clock for me. Sorry, I don't know what time it is for you. It's 6 o'clock on Pacific. It was for Pacific Coast people. Anyway, that was a lot, but I'll just so there's some ideas, some thoughts.
And one thing is we do have a lot of comedians that are in this sector, although they're at TYT Politics like Jimmy Dore or at RT like Lee Camp.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure there's probably some I guess you could say diamonds in the rough comedians out there that we just haven't found yet.
I love Jimmy Dore. I have never like personally talked to him. I sent him a message once on Twitter, like a DM, being like, "You should interview Lori Love," because I'm still trying to get Tim Black and Jimmy Dore to interview Lori Love. Like I did do that artwork, and he liked it, and so did his wife. I have met, like, he seems friendly with me, but I guess he wasn't interested, or he has messages like that where people are like, "Interview this person, interview that person." Tim Black. So it's like I don't know about
James,
like
can you mute your?
someone who I can't personally talk to. Like Tim, I've talked to before, so it's like the con-chair. I go, "Hey, I talked to this person on their talk show on Fridays. I call in, and we've developed a little bit of a friendship, so I can connect you guys." Where it's like I have that confidence that it's like this is a fairly popular person on Twitter who I'm a personal fan of. I can vouch for is a good person, and will do good things for your show. If I don't know the guest, it's not any different than them going to their website and just trying to book them. Like there's no. It would just be being like, I'm a fan of this, and to like talk to Jimmy Dore personally, it would be awkward for me to recommend him unless it was like, I can guarantee you this is a good person, because some people have a face of being a good person, but you don't know. And I'm fairly certain from Tim saying that Jimmy Dore is a good person off camera too, but I can't personally recommend till I would be able to talk to Jimmy Dore myself.
Yeah.
Hey, going back to music and bringing music and having after hours Lollapalooza, and all the there's so many bands out there that are political and that would love to be a part of a big group. I know I definitely do not want Katy Perry to be a part of anything, but just yeah.
She's certainly
Sing about her vagina.
Just to let you know, this is some information that I've gotten since I live. And I've spent a lot of my life in Huntington Beach, California, which is Surf City, USA.
Yep.
And a lot of the older guys that used to surf that were in Vietnam and that were around Vietnam, they used to listen to Jimi Hendrix and Bob Seger and just a lot of like, for example, Apocalypse Now has a great soundtrack. And what happened with Apocalypse Now is they were going to throw in some Beach Boys and some Jan and Dean, but a lot of the critics that didn't really, a lot of people were critical, of having that because it wasn't realistic to the music that they were actually listening to. Nobody listened to Beach Boys and Jan and Dean and all these surfer pop surfer songs that used to come up, and basically they just hated it. They hated all that stuff. So the real musicians that were playing in Apocalypse Now was kind of sanctioned or approved by the masses that really experienced the wars and the death and all the disgustingness of it all. But that became what the music was really, and that's why that movie did so well. But so what I'm saying is if there is something that's going to be created in regards to the music, I think we got to hold true to those that have been involved. That's all I'm saying in fighting against the machine, like Rage Against the Machine. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's not a bad idea, though, right? Whoever brought that idea up, I mean, why not have a Bernie pissed me off today because he sanctioned or he's okay with placing sanctions on Russia because of Syria. We should have that song. And there's just so many things out there that need to come out, and to draw attention to it, you do need a couple of movies and a few movie stars, but musicians, from what I've seen and what we've all seen over our time, is they kind of start the conversation, and I think it's important that they do that.
I thought I heard that he wasn't okay with this thing. Like, he wanted to find out what Russia was up to, but he refused the sanctions, or was that wrong?
He tweeted today that he was okay with it. Go check. That's what Sane Progressive was just all over that today. Debbie was.
I missed all today's news, so that's brand news.
Yeah, it just happened like hours ago. So
that's disappointing. Why did he change his mind on that? Did something happen today?
I have no idea what his motives are sometimes.
I have to look into it.
Tom Perez comes in and it's just so like, you need to show them how to lead with our values. What does
That's why it's all happening.
What does that even mean, Tom? Just post something about Russia. It could be anything. I don't give a shit.
He's probably trying to just game today.
Bernie at this point is just running on autopilot, just like, fuck. All right, fine. You'll get your damn tweet. Are you happy now?
Yeah.
That could be it. It sounds like he would kind of say something. I don't care what you're saying. Or whatever, I'll do it.
I think it says
I don't care about no damn emails.
Twitter isn't actually run by him except for like if it has a tagged Bernie. So it's like a lot of his staff runs his Twitter. Like it's in the section where it talks about the person's Twitter. So I gotta go look and see if that's personally signed by him, because it says like post by staff unless signed by Bernie.
Awesome. Jamal Thomas.
Oh, Jamal!
Is Jamal joining us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
How's it going?
How goes it?
I'm gonna need my camera up for this. This is a special occasion.
It was the other day. I wasn't here for it.
Oh, and
No, it's not a special game.
and Snork misses it again. Snork is like,
I missed it.
It's right
Oh,
now.
he's having issues with his phone or something.
Where'd he go? What happened?
It's like,
It's, so Jamal, what are your final thoughts on Rod Wheeler? Because I know you've had some time to reflect on that interview you did.
he's I don't, yeah, Friday seems okay. The entire time he was taking the position, and mind you, there's no way to know. Ultimately, your idea of people is going to always be off to some degree. It's just the way it works. But he came across as kind of I'm just a regular guy doing this particular job, and I got slaughtered for doing this job. That's the way he comes across. So, for example, he would say, I was just doing an investigation. I'm just trying to find a person who did killing. Now, the catch is, it's like, well, you realize you're in a political firestorm. Like, so it's not just you're doing an investigation. People are looking at it as you're a political instrument. And you're trying to find something that made hard this idea of Russia doing it. So it's hard to know. I mean, if you take him at his word, for the most part, he did an investigation. He was blocked at multiple turns of the investigation. And he finally got something where he turned over to that particular person that he believes will help solve the case. That's what it is on its face. So I put it this way: I don't have enough of information to kind of go beyond that particular story. You know what I mean? This is a whole idea of it being debunked, though. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, he took no position on whether or not he released the emails. He didn't even take necessarily a position. So he's not taking a position on this stuff. He's only taking a position on this investigation is weird. These people are acting odd, and they're doing things that they don't typically do. So the question becomes, well, why are they doing those things? There's no way to know. He wouldn't take a position. I don't know. Who stopped him? I don't know. It was one thing after the next. He was like, I don't know. I just know that this case is not like the other cases that I've gone into. And, you got to make the point to him, like, you're in a political firestorm. I mean, you have all these people with different sides who want different things. Progressives don't want it to be Russia. The news wants it vehemently to be Russia. Right wingers don't want it to be Russia. That's what you end up with. And he takes the point. He says, "Well, I don't care about those things. I just want answers." Well, those things want you. Like, and it's funny when he said that. It was like, oh, you're right. There is something else dealing with this case. You know what I mean? It's not just there's a family attached. You kind of forget that, because in my head it's politics. It's like this person wants this other person wants this. If he's been, then he's just an investigator looking for ends. So that's the way I take it. There's no way to hard know for certain, but if those things are true, it goes that line.
So I only got in towards the later half of your interview. What's he doing now? Is he continuing on with the investigation?
No, he's not. No, he said he's done. He's done. He said private entities asked him what to do more about the investigation, and he said he turned them down. The next question I was going to follow up with was those private entities run by some kind of political thing, meaning Democrat or conservative? I suspect it was more so a conservative organization. He said he was sick of it. He said he was sick of it. He said, I just don't want anything else to do with this case. I've never been attacked this way before. I don't want to be attacked this way. So I told him, I said, dude, I get it, man. It takes a certain thing to get up every day and be attacked by a lot of people. Like you think of Keith Olbermann. I saw Keith Olbermann walking down the street in New York and people would like say stuff to him. And the newsman was like, "You okay with that?" He says, "I'm okay with it. I'm used to it." It's like, how? Even if you're the best
that rhinoceros hide.
Same thing. Martin Luther King was attacked viciously in the newspapers and everything else. He's putting out love. You just have to get used to it.
Did he indicate he was just getting like barraged with because I saw how much heat that HA got just for covering this, and Jimmy Dore Dore even stayed completely neutral on it, and they still put him on blast. Was it he just felt barraged, or did he feel threatened? Did he indicate that he felt like
I don't think he felt threatened for his life. I think it was as a human being, just as a person, whether or not you want to deal with how other people feel about you or whatever else. And conceptually, it's just a person. That person, just like you, they have ideas. Who gives a shit about their ideas? And yet, when those things are put out in the press, it feels like a lot of people are watching this, and a lot of people may be agreeing with this idea. And for whatever reason, we still, even though we know those are just people and they just have ideas, and those ideas in no way affect me, it still affects you. In the sense of how you deal with it, just as a person, it's like all of these people are spitting on me digitally. And for him, it was this combination of he felt his words were being twisted, and he felt he was getting a lot of just bad press, like in news media, assault in that sense, calling him like a conspiracy theorist, a bunker, and all this other stuff. The guy's a private investigator, and they're just saying really bad things about him constantly. It just bugged him.
I'm guessing it gets hard to be a private investigator if everybody knows your face everywhere too.
Well, and he kept making this other point where they were slandering credibility. Like they were trying to say that him as an investigator was just a trashy investigator, that he had no credibility whatsoever. Like it was those type of attacks. that I think were probably close. Yeah, it's
But he's not. I mean, because it's like if he wanted to continue, I guess maybe he's annoyed with like the. I don't know what happened between him and the family, but it's like he's trying to help the family, and they were originally appreciative of the help, but then they were like, "We're gonna sue if you don't stop." So like, maybe he felt insulted by that or something. I'm just wondering, like,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did he confirm that he had talked to somebody about a laptop, or did the news twist that too? Because I always got confused about that.
Okay, so he said he didn't necessarily talk to somebody about a laptop. He said he had a conversation. He said he was at dinner. He said the Fox News reporter tracked him into dinner and said something to the effect of, she said something to the effect of asking him questions for the segment or something, for the promo for the segment. And he said she took out part of what he said without leaving other parts. And they ran with the story. They just said, "Oh, this guy said that that they didn't have that they had news showing that Seth Rich had a laptop, something to that effect." And he looked at it and was like, "That's not what I said." That was his point. That's not what I said. They took it out of context. They took and left off part of what he was talking about, the sentence. So the most that I've heard him say about the laptop was that somebody may have said something about it, but not to the degree that they were saying where he saw or he put eyes on that particular laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds to me like somebody, because there's like a ton of hacktivists out there, it wouldn't surprise me if one of them said, "I have information that we need to like prove that there was a laptop that Seth Rich used that's missing." You know, like, because if Seth Rich did information to other people, somebody would know about that he was giving the information to, because there's, you know, like Craig Murray said that he picked up the information from the person in a park that was very close in Washington, D.C. to where Seth Rich's walking route was before he died. So I found that interesting. If you go look up the map for that and stuff. But it could be that Seth Rich wasn't the source, and that the source felt scared when they saw how close Seth Rich was to where they dropped off the information. You know, because Julian never said Seth Rich is definitely the source. He said our sources are very concerned when they see stuff like this.
Yes, right. He did.
Source, or he could have been friends with the source, or it could have been that like they saw that and they knew that he was doing the data analytics stuff for the DNC, and they were like, "Whoa, what the f?" You know, like, so you know, it could be any one of those things. So it's interesting to me that like he believes, you know, like I would have loved to hear any details where he said, "I know of a source that said that there should be a laptop and they took it out of context." You know, like, but I'm just curious, like what he said specifically.
It's the video's on. I mean, that would probably give a better detailed description of mine. I did ask the question though, like, how did you get into the situation? Meaning, what did they take out of context, or not just even take out of context? What did you backtrack on? And he gives a detailed answer on what he backtracked, what he said, what he didn't say, why he said it, those type of things. I agree. See, I've always had this thing that said, if you worked for the DNC, it's just by virtue of him working for the DNC, for whatever reason, it comes across as, yes, there's a possibility that the person who worked for the DNC leaked information from the DNC. That just seems so logical to me. And yet the news media is telling me you're crazy for believing that. You're absolutely crazy for believing that the person who worked for the DNC could have gotten information.
That was weird to me, where it's like, why would this person have anything to, like, you think they're going to go kill somebody who's just a volunteer for the DNC? I'm like, well, yeah, if they have the information, you know, like if they have access.
One takeaway from...
why wouldn't they? You know, like if it's...
He said they have no clue where the laptop is. He said the FBI or the police department, neither one is saying they know what the laptop is, which is amazing. I mean, it's more amazing, and the question becomes, well, wait a minute, why did they take the laptop in the first place? If you're telling me that this guy was just mugged, why are they taking the laptop? Like, what does this laptop have to do with the case if you're saying it was a random killing? And it makes no sense. Like, a lot of the stuff doesn't really make sense in this case.
Yep. Mr. Carter. Okay, so he didn't have the laptop on his person. They actually went to his house and took
the laptop. Exactly.
which is the biggest thing I'm
That's like-
seeing.
That's part of the report and everything. That's a confirmed piece of information because that's weird.
Is that's because that's what's
Because I
on the
thought that
internet
was
and
what
on
Rob
Facebook.
Wheeler said.
Everybody's saying,
And then the news person took it out of context.
Steph, let James finish, please.
yeah, sorry. So what I'm seeing all over Facebook. Sorry, but thank you, Jamal, for listening, by the way, and everyone.
Oh, no,
But
There's a delay. I
the thing I'm
wasn't.
seeing on the internet is, it's it's a botched robbery. So why would that? But the biggest thing I'm seeing and posted memes everywhere is if it's a botched robbery and he's killed, why would they go to his house to get his laptop?
that seems bizarre to me. That seems absolutely bizarre to me.
You fucked up a robbery. You don't go to the guy's house and then ask him if they can take your laptop as a penance.
Yeah, that's just that's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like, hi, Mrs. So-and-so. Your son was killed in a burglary, just a random robbery outside. Can we get his laptop?
The only reason I could think, yeah, I mean, the only reason I could think they would want to go home and take his laptop is if they thought it could have been a planned robbery. That's the only thing. But then if it's a planned robbery, that brings into more questions.
Plans a robbery.
Well, a lot of people plan a robbery.
Okay, the plan of the
what is he was an intern or volunteer? It's like it's not like he has packing and you cash.
Yes.
Like I just why they would plan that.
Exactly.
Robbery would include, casing him, seeing when he was coming and going, having, somewhat of a mental inventory of his assets or whatever you had in mind to procure from him. I mean, that's just, it doesn't, again, none of it adds up.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Look, unless his computer was the world's greatest PC gaming game of all time, there's not very much that you could get off the
How
laptop.
would they know? How would they know in the first place?
Yeah, but here's what it is.
Can I ask a question to Jamal?
Sorry.
Jamal, so one question I want to ask is, for Ed, why did he decide to talk with Fox News and not live? And why? Because things got taken out of a context. So, do you think he would actually come to Indian media and do a live segment, then go to a local news media to report any of his findings in the future?
That's a good question. I told him if he ever had anything that he wanted to put out, let me know. He just wouldn't touch the evidence that he had. He said he got a threatening letter from a family this morning, which kind of bolstered this thing of, okay, I can't say everything. That's what he said. Oh man, I want to say that's slightly convenient, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I have a conflict right there, but yeah, he said, yeah, I can't share everything because the family just sent me a threatening letter. Now, we do know the family did send him a threatening letter before, so it's not necessarily beyond the realm of possibility that they would send him another one. I don't know. Ambiguity.
I mean, he's a law enforcement officer, right? Or, I mean, you get some sort of... So couldn't he report that to FBI and have them look into it? I mean, why would he be afraid?
Well, he said he reported his information or his findings to the local police department. He said he believes in that particular police chief, that guy is trying to solve the case. That's the way he put it. It's just, I asked him whether or not the police chief, someone asked me, Deborah Wasserman Schultz essentially threatened one of the people involved in the case, something to that effect, or threatened the DC chief. And I was like, is it possible? I said, would one of these parties be ballsy enough to do that? Like, why would the police chief yield to any? They have no power over him. They have no power in government at all at this point, let alone, even if they were in government, they would have no power over that particular police chief. Why would he be bullied in that way? And he says, well, I know the guy. I don't think he would let her bully him in such a way. He says, but there's no way to know. But I don't believe that would be the case. Yeah, he would. Oh, by the way, I do think he would go on indie media over the other one. I mean, at the very least, if it's somebody who's, I would hope that me talking to him in this particular way, giving him kind of free space to say what he's going to say, would at the very least allow him an entry point. You know, if he wanted to kind of have those discussions. So yeah, I guess he would. Now, whether or not he would do another one with Fox 5, that I don't know. I don't know. He felt screwed by that. In fact, that was the worst screw taken. He said of all the things that took place, that was the worst.
I have a quick question, Jamal.
Go for it.
So, do you think he might do sessions with Jamal? You know what I'm saying? Maybe come on again, because it seems like he trusts you.
Yeah, he didn't want to. He said he didn't want to show his face on it. That was, that was slightly weird. But he was like, he didn't want that video part. I don't know. He's more than welcome to come on. He's definitely more than welcome to come on. He will be held accountable to any kind of contradictions, but he will be given space.
The other big question I have is, why? He was probably the closest person to knowing, in my opinion, from my perspective, on how close he was to seeing the evidence, knowing the evidence, saying that I have an insider that knows this, that, and the other thing. But the biggest question is if I'm a parent of my kid, I'd want to know that person. I would do anything I could to help that person never tell the truth.
I think
never tell.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best place that you can leave it, because on the one hand, it's easy for us to think that it's like, well, why wouldn't you want to know? It's sort of like at a certain point, from my perspective, at a certain point, it almost the search itself ends up becoming a pariah, and once that happens, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you just you at a certain point you may feel incentivized to just let this go, because there's only further. It's sort of that point that is the amount of pain this is going to cause me worth the amount of.
Yeah, right there. He specifically said, I took so much trashing. He said I wouldn't throw the guy under the bus. He was like, I wouldn't do it. He said I wouldn't tell. He said I'm not telling who the guy is. And I got to be honest, I don't blame him. The media came up with their narrative. They have this idea of this is what we want people to believe took place. And anybody who believes anything other than that are wild-eyed conspiracy theorists who, it's amazing. Like tinfoil hat wearers. They're in the minority, believe it or not. I mean, you have Republicans who, for the most part, don't believe the Russia thing. And you have progressives who don't believe the Russia thing. And I guarantee damn well to you that there are more of us in unison than them. They just so happen to have people in media and political power where they can scream Russia at the top of their lungs, get the media to go along with it completely uncritically, and say that this is the narrative, just by virtue of us saying this is a narrative. It's amazing. It's amazing. And you have Darcy writing those dumbass articles for CNN. Come on.
Wow.
Darcy said, Oliver Darcy, he said, we'll send him a letter saying that what he did was okay. Yeah. He shot that down. He said, no, Darcy is lying to his teeth. Darcy was lying to his teeth. He sent him a letter saying, yeah, that wasn't bad. And Darcy took that as he approved of my article. That's not approval, dude. That's not approval.
No. So I just flashed a picture on the screen. You guys saw that, right? When I was talking about that Debbie. And by the way, Jamal, thank you. This is freaking awesome. I was so pissed. I had to. I couldn't be on Friday to watch you, to be on here. But this is cool. So, and the people that we like within this group, we like watching. Definitely you, Jamal. Debbie, definitely Tim Black, and HA, and then a little bit of TYT here, a few other people that have been on. which is good. But I just mentioned this earlier, and everybody's like, "What just happened?" Yeah. Sanders comes out for Russia sanctions, justified on lies, on his Twitter. He just plugged that like a few hours ago.
No way.
That
Sanders
I can play it.
Came Russian sanctions. That's amazing.
That freaked me out when I saw this. Debbie did this about 4 hours ago.
Yeah. This is amazing to me. I mean, we're invading their airspace. Like, imagine a situation where Mexico has a bunch of drug dealers or whatever. They cobble together, they create a gang. That gang starts to fight the Mexican government and is strong enough to fight the Mexican government. Now, in doing so, the United States joins with Mexico because that's on their border, and the United States don't want it invading Texas or whatever. Russia comes over to our country and says, we're going to help you fight these guys. And we're like, yeah, dude, this is way out of your home territory. Like, why are you this far away from home? It's the same situation. It's like it makes no sense that Russia would be in Mexico at that point. Why the hell is the United States in Syria, and what pretense? What's the law? How are they there? Like, it's amazing to me that the news broadcast isn't saying the United States is illegally in Syria every day, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, just every day the news comes on. The United States is illegal in Syria. There's no constitutional justification for them to be there, nor is there international justification for them to be there. And they're setting up pretenses for war with Russia and that behavior that they're taking. It's amazing.
Crazy.
Like, I'm blown away that this is normal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. I just heard that I guess we shot down a Syrian fighter. Also, sorry,
yes,
I'm not paying attention.
We did.
Yeah.
No, yes, we did.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did. We shot down a Syrian fighter. And Russia has essentially said anything in that territory now is would be shot down and considered a hostile target. They're inching us closer to war. The one saving grace that I had in sense of Trump and Hillary Clinton, Trump was trying to be conciliatory to Russia, and Hillary Clinton was trying to start a war. Yeah. And now it seems like that one saving grace is gone, and that Trump is also trying to start a war with Russia. And this is not a conventional war. This is a nuclear war. This is literally a nuclear war. Because think about it.
Bye, Christian.
The United States will probably beat the shit out of any country in a conventional war. Fair enough. But in this particular case, you're going to have Russia, China, Syria, and Iran probably in alignment. That's a loss. That's a loss. And even if we win a conventional war, of course, those guys are going to go to nuclear weapons. I find this to be like just maddeningly dangerous. We're closer to a nuclear conflict now with Russia than we were back during the 50s or 60s when we were having a war.
I saw
Terrifying.
a video from Luke We Are Change today, and he talked about there's some type of chart or graph. I think it was on a Wikipedia. I don't remember, but it kind of lists an order of countries 1 through 158 of where they are in like military intervention or how much killings or war or that they're in. And of course, U.S. is like maybe near the bottom of the rung, but like the last 12 countries, they're all countries the U.S. is having military interventions in. Like if the U.S. weren't involved in them, they probably wouldn't be the last 12. But it's a coincidence because
other people we kill abroad. Yeah, 90% of the people we kill abroad are innocent. I mean, it's. I don't understand what the rest of the world is. Oh wow.
So, anyways, I want. There's so much I want to talk with you about. I hope you can get a lot of Google Hangout sessions or this. I gotta talk to you about this because I'll just add you to the account where you can do this. I think the problem is your computer might not be strong enough to handle it. But like, I want when you went over your 420 talk with Wonder
That may be
Woman
true.
and Q from Star Trek, I wanted to like comment away, but I was hoping you would come in and we talk. But I still haven't seen Wonder Woman. I want to. But yeah, it's good stuff. Like,
Dogs, man, I love the. They're awesome.
and yeah, if we should definitely do a chess thing.
Those. I
Hello,
said it one more time.
go ahead. Something.
No, say that one more time. Repeat the last thing. One more time.
Oh, yeah. We should definitely do the chess game and chess talk. If like maybe at least once a week or something, if you can.
Oh, that would be fine.
All right.
That would be fun. I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that would be fine. I love the 420 talks. The 420 talks are awesome. If I wish I lived in this.
What does that mean?
Just,
What are you guys talking
about? Booze up on camera. But that's. Oh, 420 talks. So I think it was 420. Huh? Oh, yeah, what the hell is a 420 talk?
That's when we get really deep in that.
So no, a 420 talk. Think of it this way. If you got stoned off your ass with a bunch of friends, what the hell would you guys talk about? You guys talk about anything. And it would go into these large philosophical twists and turns. But you can talk about pretty much anything. You can talk about anything from esoteric. Hey, was that aliens in the skies over that particular point? What does it mean for humanity if it was? Virtual game space, how do people behave? What does it mean in this sense of double slit experiments and the things that those things say? Or like the last case, Wonder Woman. Feminism and Wonder Woman. Meaning, is Wonder Woman the modern day feminist? And if so, what does it mean? I ended up on vaginas, which was way too far. And I realized I was like, oh, dude, that's too far. That's too far. Let me back up. But I think the talk, yeah, it went too far. It went too far.
I don't need drugs for
But
that.
the talk was interesting. I thought the talk was damaging. Actually, what I'm thinking is it may be fun to do that as a group.
Yeah.
You guys want a
I
legal
think
way
that would be
to get,
badass to
like,
do as a group.
Wait, who's talking? Can't ever tell when it's my turn to talk because it's like there's always this delay. I don't know if somebody else is talking.
Yeah, it can be
There's
tough.
lag, yes.
If you guys want a legal way to like kind of get like a meditative high, there's you can get the blue lotus, white lotus, dried. You can get, and you can also get called Amanita muscaria. You know, like, a little bit of kratom, and you put it into a tea. And you want to put some flavoring in there because kratom and Amanita muscaria are very bitter. But you can get pretty zoned out and creative on those things, like those herbs or mush. The Amanita muscaria is technically a mushroom, but it's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Not that I know a lot about.
There's this stuff called
White Lotus talk with Steph.
oh, what is it called?
I know where you can get these herbs too.
I'm nutty enough without any
metaphysical stuff. I'm not like, you know. You know, like,
yeah, metaphysical stuff is fun. Oh, that's my favorite.
I don't
That's
really.
my favorite.
I can't smoke anything, so it's like I'll find
God,
herbal.
yeah, multiple things on God.
We do ritual.
She's actually don't listen to her. It's all a trap. Carmen actually works for Big Kratom.
You know, they're trying to make kratom illegal. I'm just like, that's ridiculous. Like, you know, people are in enough pain. They can't have their medical marijuana, and it's like I just like my throat. I have problems. Like I could never. Yeah, like it's like I can't even take the sage smoke, and that's supposed to be a big thing if you're in the metaphysics of sage everything. And I'm like, God, stop! I can't stand that smell. But like, I'll use sandalwood instead. You know, like you can cleanse with that or salt, but there are some legal herbs that you can get, and you can mix them, put them in a tea, and you can be pretty far out there without having to take like classify, or what do they call them, like classification drug, when they get on that scale where they make it illegal and stuff. So class 1 or class 2 or whatever. Yeah. But they're trying to make one of them, one of the big ones.
Also done a show
right
on
now, Freedom. They're trying to make that illegal.
So
yeah, that's insane. That's insane. That they just try to justify themselves.
So here's the
every
thing
organization does. Like anything that you create.
Well, they can't stand people self-medicating. Like that's what it is that they want them to buy these opioids that people are getting addicted to. Is what I think.
Big pharma.
Oh, and
a lot of people have been coming to the metaphysical shops because they can't afford the drugs.
Mm-hmm. And have you noticed that there's always a big push by private companies, drug companies, mainstream media, that homeopathic medicine and all this other stuff, or Eastern medicine, is just baloney all the time?
No, it's so funny.
Yeah, they try to. Again, they try to justify themselves.
Yeah,
I had a degree. Believe it or not, my first degree was in holistic nutrition. My first degree, including herbology. And I still remember a lot of the herbology stuff. But yeah, it was always that war of, oh, this stuff is bunk. Some of it is bunk, not all of it. It just depends on what you get and who you go to.
Ario,
Right.
you're going to say something?
I think,
Steph, let Ario go. Sorry.
Well, I was just talking about my dad and his 4 years of colon cancer, and the first thing that we did, instead of taking him straight to the oncologist and the chemo, which they wanted us to do because he was so far advanced when he was diagnosed, we took him to a naturopath, got him on naturopathic medicine for 2 months, and that alone decreased the cancer cell count by 50%. It eliminated a lot of the activity. They use a very high concentration of vitamin C among other cancer support things, and you go in there, they do an IV for several hours, and basically when vitamin C is given in high medical grade doses like that, it goes from being an antioxidant to a pro-oxidant. It blows the cancer up. So it's pretty incredible actually how effective it is. And I always say that, the pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, they want you sick. They don't want you dead, and they don't want you healthy, because they're not going to make any money off of dead or healthy people. They want you sick and alive. I'm an astrologer. Yes. I've worked in plenty of metaphysical stores, and I've seen a lot of this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, I would rather go to a Chinese acupuncturist. I'd rather go to my Chinese acupuncturist than go to a regular doctor, because she's going to actually take the time, give me the care, and I feel like I've actually got something when I leave, instead of feeling like half the time they don't know what's wrong with you and they just want to patch it up with with a harsh painkiller. That's why people are getting addicted to opiates, because people aren't able to afford the care that they really need, so the root cause is not addressed. So all they can afford to do take a ton of painkillers, hence they get addicted. There you go. We've got people hopped up on all kinds of stuff because they're not getting the real treatment and the real care that they actually need to eliminate the pain more naturally and more effectively. So,
and they get rich off of the cure. I mean, they get you addicted to opiates, and then they're there with their medicine. What's it called? That helps you quit opiates. Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's
so, I mean,
similar to a methadone for heroin.
Methadone, yeah. It's just like they get rich off of every turn of it.
Well, guess what? It happens in tech too. A lot of antivirus software, they create the antivirus. They create the virus. They have the antivirus, and they sell it to you to make sure that you don't get it. But if you read some articles out there, it's been proven true that that's what's been happening for a couple of antivirus companies.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's messed up. All right, Steph, you were saying something.
I forgot by now. That's
sorry.
why I interrupt. Because if
Go ahead, Red.
I have a bad habit of interrupting, because it's like if I don't get my thought out, I lose it, and I've already forgotten.
Did she say she was an astrologer?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
That's awesome.
No, don't start it. Don't start that. No.
Come on, that's awesome. You have to admit, that's pretty badass.
What's your birthday, Jamal?
8/31/77.
8/31. Oh, you're a Virgo. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a double Virgo with an Aries moon.
Oh, it makes so much sense. You know,
Yes.
Bernie's actually a Virgo with an Aries moon as well.
Oh, seriously? What? That's awesome.
All right, Jamal, you're running for president 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you share his energy.
Yeah.
You have a sense for his energy.
All those Aries moon people are getting that Uranus transit right now, and Uranus rules Aquarius. You guys are super, super electrified, all worked up for the social causes and getting the truth out. That's why a lot of you guys with the Aries moon getting a real kick, getting a real electric bolt right now. What's your Chinese year? What's your Chinese sign?
What is it? It's something rat. It's electric rat or something to that effect.
Electric rat.
That'd be a good band name.
Something. Maybe not electric, but fire rat. Or was it fire rat? I want to say fire rat.
Yeah. I'm a fire dragon. See, the Chinese cycle goes 5 elements, whereas the Western wheel goes 4 elements.
Yeah.
Fire people in general. See, we're in a fire rooster year. So that fire element's got you all charged up. But this is a challenging year for you. So there might be a lot of restlessness. You feel like you can't sit still. You've got a lot to do. And that's not really surprising anyway, because the rat is aligned with Sagittarius energy. That's what it associates with on the Western wheel. So this, rats is a traveler. Sagittarius is a traveler. The rat is the first branch of the Chinese cycle. So they're very much about initiating action. They're cool people. I get along great with rats and monkeys because I'm a dragon. So I'm like, bring on the fire.
I'm sorry, not rat, snake. That's what it is. Fire snake. I'm sorry. My bad.
Fire snake. Well, the fire element this is a better year for you then. This is a really good year for you. That's extra energy for you this year.
That's what it was. Fire snake. Fire snake.
My dad is a snake. You guys, enigma. But yeah, you are travel-y too. Snakes like to move. They like to do their things. They stay close to the ground. They feel all the vibrations. Snake is a little bit of an enigma because you won't always know. The people closest to you, they know exactly how you feel about everything. But the people out in the world, you may not know exactly what you're thinking. You can keep some of that close to the chest. But you want your basic creature comforts, good food, warm bed, just the basics of life keep you pretty happy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for all of my bitching about everybody else in society and everything else. Yeah, I like those things. I like pampering. I like mani-pedis.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm not ashamed of it.
Taurus. The snake is aligned with Taurus. It's a very sensual, earthy. Oh, this fabric feels so good. Oh, that smells so good. Oh, that tastes so good.
I've had my first pedicures this year. I love them. You get to sit in the massage chair. My feet are horrible. I got so much. What's that stuff that adds up to your feet? The thicker padding. Calluses.
Yeah.
And I do horrible at cutting my toenails. They take care of it all. I love it.
Oh, great.
I need to do that. I need to do a mani-pedi.
I love it. I love that.
Hey, Ariel, do you mind if I ask for mine? I've never had an astrologer read my signs before.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go eat some food.
All right. So,
like I'm done.
all right.
Bye,
So
take care.
Everyone.
I give an example.
Wait. Ariel, let's plan to do a special astrology session for you. For anyone interested, they come in and you can give them a reading.
Sure. Yeah.
Raise the hands.
I do tarot. That was my job for a while.
Oh, I do tarot as well. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you have an astrology. I don't do astrology. So you do astrology and I can do tarot, like pull people a card each night. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Although I can't commit to that. It just had to be random.
Well, Ebon
Anything
Ebon
goes.
is gonna do a full session,
I'll probably show up.
and he'll televise it.
Yes.
Hold on, give him the friends and family rate.
Now this is worthy for a 420 moment.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, right. I know.
There's 1988.
Oh yeah, I'm the fire rooster there.
Okay, so everybody look. I'm a dragon because I was born in '64.
Oh,
Oh, I'm a dragon as well.
you and me.
I feel like I'm the only dog in here.
The Trigger Dragon!
Trigger Dragon!
You guys can look that up.
Do you guys
It's
remember
easy to find out.
Trogdor?
Huh?
Does anybody remember like Trogdor? It was like on this.
Oh my god!
The Burninator.
Look.
I don't know what's Trogdor.
Yeah.
Trogdor.
The Burninator.
Oh god, I've forgotten that. That the world's worst horribly drunk.
Wing.
Like,
Are they still around?
No, like I think every so often they release a short, but
Right.
I think they've mostly retired since both of them had kids.
That was the greatest series.
You know what? I used to
Dragon
love
immediately
Strong
has-
Bad emails.
What's that thing I remember from like back in the 90s?
No. I don't know if anybody does. Anyone remember like the old Strong Bad email shorts they used to release back then? Oh, those used to be my favorite, especially to this day, my family's favorite one from that entire series was the one where Strong Bad gets a virus on his computer. Correction. That was about 100,000 viruses on his computer. and it ends up that he not only breaks his computer, he also breaks reality in the process.
I love the Teen Girl Squad. Teen Girl Squad! Remember that one? That he would draw.
I remember that.
It was always lined notebook paper about the girls in school. Oh my god. Rectangle pizza.
I remember that one because they also ended up dying in the most horrific manners.
Oh!
Ow, my most of me!
Trogdor.
That's awesome. I've seen that.
Just look at the astrology, the Chinese zodiac. It's right there. It's like they just decided to make their dragon a Trogdor, you know?
It just has just like one beefy arm.
I always thought I was a snake growing up because my year is 77, right? So you go to the darn restaurants in the Chinese place and they got the placemat and it tells your year. So I thought, oh, mistake. But the thing about the Chinese cycle is it's a lunar year. So that dragon year didn't end until after my January 19th birthday. So I was still in the dragon cycle. So if you're born like January, February, you actually need to look at the calendar because it's different every year.
Because it's going by the lunar calendar?
Yes, it's different every year. It's not the same day. And it can be as early as, late January to, third week of February based on that lunar cycle. I can't remember. I think it's the first new moon after winter solstice, I believe, is the way that's calculated. So that's why it's different every year. I teach classes about this stuff. There's a group, the Metropolitan Atlanta Area Astrologers Society, and I teach there every year. I do a Chinese zodiac class. Because the cool thing about astrology is that it links everything. I mean, it's feng shui, traditional Chinese medicine, martial arts. All of it is a similar basis. It's all that same 5-element cycle, and it's really cool. It's fun. It's fun. I love it.
Coco,
All right.
do you
I find it to be extremely good at explaining
astrology
a
or
person.
the European one?
What's that?
Do you do any Joytish astrology or only the European, like the Western version?
I really just stick with the Western astrology and also with the Chinese astrology. Those are my two favorites, I guess I would say. I've dabbled with Vedic and things like that, but I just never have found them to just, I don't know. They don't make as much sense to me personally.
You get used to a 12 cycle, and doing it in 9 is like really weird.
The Vedic charts are squares; they're not round, which is really interesting. And they base a lot on major stars, not just planets. So
right. And then there's I believe, like, because of the Sanskrit, like there's it's like, it's not that they both have the same name, it's that they had like an understanding that like stars and planets are basically the same thing, except for one's dead and one's alive, kind of thing, you know. So it's like they'll name objects that you can't really tell if it's a star or a planet, but they have an impact as well. And then you have the gems that are supposed to have an impact, and it's like, to me it was like, oh my god, I thought the Western zodiac was hard to learn. So I'm still trying to like memorize just the basics, but I was curious because some people
this is my black tourmaline, my black obsidian. Those are good Capricorn stones. I keep those around all the time.
You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They astrology explains things really well. Like it's
the tractor. She got it. Oh my god! Did you just draw that, Stevie? Did you just draw that? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wait, where is it?
That's a cool drawing.
That is a cool drawing. That is a good drawing.
We got hidden talents in this group. I'm telling you.
Oh, tractor.
As Ebon learns them all, he will use his empire. Is Ebon still here?
Mm-hmm.
Ebon.
I'm here.
Oh no, there he is. Okay. I can't see everybody.
Really funny, you know.
I'm technically
My
supposed to be asleep.
mom is a Capricorn dragon, and my dad is an Aquarius snake. And because I was born right on the border of the two, I was going to be either one of them. Ended up being my mom's combination, Capricorn dragon. But I could have Aquarius snake very easily too.
Yeah. My mom, Pisces. She was the opposite. Literally, zodiac opposite.
But you both are so sensitive, because Virgo and Pisces are the most sensitive people in the whole cycle.
What about Gemini?
Well, it ended up being we end up balancing each other in a weird way. Like there's certain qualities I picked up from both.
You have a lot in common, those two signs.
Yeah, it's funny. I do have this one aspect. I have what is it? It's Mars conjunct Jupiter. Well, no, that's not right. But it's in Gemini. That's what it is. Mars is in Gemini.
Ooh.
And it dumps
Gemini right here.
You get bored. You gotta have a lot of things to do. You gotta have a lot.
right.
Always find something to do.
You love to talk. Geminis are all about communication. They love to talk.
Yeah.
Love ideas.
And stuff starts to make sense the older you get. And you're like, yeah, I get that now. That one makes sense.
Mars and Gemini must multitask. Mars and Gemini has to have more than one thing to do, or they get bored, because Mars is your direction. It's that masculine energy. It's how you get things done. I have Mars in Capricorn, so darn it, I can just do the same damn thing day in, day out. Don't get tired. It's like, you know what? Makes the money, it's good. But for Gemini Mars, I'm bored of that. I did that too much. I need something new now.
Yeah,
more than one thing going on.
That's a pain in the ass. That aspect is a pain in the ass. It really is. Because in your society, it doesn't work that way. Society works as a specific thing over and over and over and over again.
I think it's getting better, though. I think that you know, I mean, I work for myself. What a surprise! And I have to have more than one thing. I'm Aquarius rise. That's another air sign. So I have variety. Variety is the spice of life. But if you can find ways to make that variety work together, it's fabulous. Then
it works.
Yeah. So, you know, like with media or with, you know, communication for you, you know, it's like you can do some writing, you can do some talking, you can do some journalistic work, you can get in the car and go actually talk to people, interview them. There's a lot of facets to that one area. So, you know, work them, and you'll be happier.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
You know what? Yeah, and your Aries moon. Well, that's Action Jackson. And you got move. That you can't deal with that.
Oh boy.
That's Jumpin' Jack Flash Moon. That's my fiance's an Aries moon, man. Oh, sometimes that drives me up a wall because I'm like, can you just sit still? They can't. They gotta have something to go on and do. And it's Aries needs a constant stimulation. They gotta have something to be excited about.
I'm okay with that.
They're more of an instigator than like the person that sees the project through to the end. So they delegate work to other people to get the hard, boring part done because Aries is that first burst of energy in life. It's like, whoa, I got an idea. But if it doesn't get going soon enough, it doesn't complete quick enough, they're like, I'm kind of bored of the idea now. Even if it was a really damn good idea, they get bored of it after, that first initial burst.
Yeah. Can we talk about a different sign, please? Because you're really hitting home here.
Yeah.
It's like she's saying everything I do all the time.
I've been doing this a long time. My teacher, Lynn Hammond, is an amazing astrology teacher, but I'm telling you, I've been interested in this stuff since I was a little kid. My mom, there was this book that had all the different signs in it and the drawings of the symbols. And I remember as 7 or 8 years old, I saw that. I was like, that's cool. The idea that the time of year that you're born would have something to do with your personality or the kind of person you are. It is and some people think it's complete hocus pocus, they don't buy it. That's cool. And I honestly, people think, oh, do you live your life by it? Well, not really. I mean, it's no, I love to use it as a guide, but I don't take it as a fatalistic thing where, oh no, this is going to happen because of blah, blah, blah. The way I see it is it's a nice guide and it'll show you your potential energies because that's all astrology is the study of planetary energy. So you can take that and look at it and say, well, here's what's probably coming my way. And if I don't really want it to go that way, I can work with this and shift it a different direction. So it's kind of cool. There's always pros and cons. There's always different paths you can take with any pattern that you see. But it never gets boring because everybody's different. I mean, it literally is. I know it's cheesy, but yeah, we are like a little snowflake. Everybody's got a very unique thumbprint and things that we're to do while we're here. The South and North Node, especially in a chart, will show you if you believe in past lives or if you believe in past energies. I mean, that will show you things that you've experienced before and things that you're trying to get to now. And so then, of course, you get numerology. It all works together, and you get a pretty cool picture of yourself. Yeah.
Okay, like I said, we're gonna have an astrology session.
I know we're having it now.
My north and south nodes are in the 8th house, conjunct Aries moon. And
see, are you for real? Oh,
real. This particular person is individualistic to no degree, to immense degree, and the things that he's bringing with him in his past life are being back to him.
This is why we need a session, and an introduction, because this is just over. Most of us.
I had no idea. I decided not on astrology for me to go more like other routes of I guess all in the area of
obese. It's
I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's basically I don't want to say psychic, but I guess it's
yes, psychic studies, yes.
Yeah.
Taromancy, palmistry, scrying with water, crystal, all the different ways that you can see reading. It's I kind of went more in that direction. But
wait. Why not something more direct, like an OBE? That seems to be what you're getting at. Because listen, all these things, whether it's astrology, palmistry, all this stuff, I have varying degrees of belief in any of them, but OBEs take you to the heart of the matter.
I haven't been able to experience that. I think you either do or you don't. I know people who have experienced it, but I haven't personally experienced it.
I guess the point I'm getting at is, if you really want to get to the heart of the matter with regards to consciousness studies, that's where it is. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's the meditation. Find something more.
Jamal, what's your year of birth? I'm going to type you into my Kepler program here.
I'm 77. Oh.
Jamal, I do
What'd you say, 77?
Yeah, August 31st, 1977, 6:05 in the morning.
You're born in the same year as me. Okay, so let's see. What was it? The time again?
You do not look
6:05, Richmond, Virginia.
6:45.
We already went over this,
No,
Ilios.
6:05.
Ilios,
6:05.
we already went over this. She looks like she's 18, 19 years old.
Who?
Coco. She
I
looks-
was talking about Jamal.
Jamal looks young too, but
Oh, wait, what year did you say you were born? Jamal's a lot older than I thought he was.
I'm 40 years old.
Guess my age.
Wow.
yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, I hit it this year too. So.
I thought you were my age.
Wait, how old are you, Steph?
Which
How-
I'm not gonna say. But Jamal,
I look a lot older with this big shaggy beard.
I don't even have.
Evan looks 20 something, but he's got a baby, so I don't think he is.
20 something?
20.
20? Holy
20
crap.
something.
Oh my god, you're younger than I am.
Got a baby face.
I'm not. Oh, psh.
Okay, so
What's your actual age, Ebon?
Jeremy is 1 year off.
And Eric, don't get me started on Eric. He looks like he's like 16.
I'm 29.
Yeah, Eric is like, you're like defying time
I
as
don't
well.
even have chest hair.
Moisturizer.
Jaber.
Can we change?
He's like a vampire.
Okay, Jamal, I hate to keep bothering you.
Fucking at all our youth.
I need everyone to be quiet so I can hear your birth time.
Okay, 6:05 a.m. Richmond, Virginia.
Gotcha. Is it AM or PM?
A.m.
Gotcha. All right, everyone, start talking again. You're good.
I wanted to say something. Okay, listen. I always give Ariel crap about her magical world of astronomy. Okay.
Astrology.
No, I'm astrology. I'm
real, James.
not the plan. Okay, I meant to say astrology. I meant to say astrology. Sorry, I really meant to say that.
Crazy loony astronomy.
Here's the thing about me is I talked about
Those people who talk about the stars and existing and cosmology are just a bunch of Huey. The Earth is flat.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. Don't get me started on this. Don't even get me started on those people. They're the worst. Okay, so but here's the thing, because I think I have a double standard, because I brought this up the other night about my ancient culture of Huna, which deals with the practices, and I didn't mention this book the other day, but if I don't know if you can read it.
How cool!
Yeah, but it's see this right here. This is the low self, the middle self, and then the high self, which is represented by two wings. But if you go in the book, it's pretty in depth, and there's a few books on this, but it's all somewhat mythical. And I think a lot of the things that over time that we've, the guy that had the best story usually won, around the campfire.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is a lot of these things I think were put in practice, not just because it gave people an answer, because we always want an answer. And then when we fill that void, okay, so yeah, there's a guy in the sky that makes all this stuff. Okay, we can move on now. All right. But the thing is it also sent people in a direction of, I would say, like an inner power, right? I guess you could say like an inner holiness, or just something that made them feel connected to something larger than themselves.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the reason why and I'm not going to get into religion. I'm just going to mention it real quick. There's over 2,000 of them. But the thing is there's these different groups and sects, and there's so many of them. All of a sudden, people are starting to understand that the way I see it is we are the best religion. Without you, there would be no religion.
That's very
I couldn't be a Mormon if it was just me walking on the earth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, who am I going to go bicycle? Who am I going to ride my bicycle with my white tie and my black tie and my bicycle and my black tie and my white shirt, long sleeve shirt? Whose house am I going to go to? Just to the front door of my own house?
Yeah, okay, I see. You're making the argument that religion is, for the most part, just a human conception. There's no there without humanity believing that there's a there to it. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And I agree with you that people try to reach something higher than themselves. But, you know, when you have religious ceremonies, sometimes those things, let's say if they have certain plants, DMT, and it makes the person feel like they're everything with the universe. Well, that person feels pretty goddamn religious at the moment. Trying to pull that back into the human experience, you can understand that that's so beyond the typical context of human experience. Then yeah, that person is going to think, okay, there's something there. There's something there. I don't think that person's crazy for thinking there's something there. And look, I'm talking from my own experiences. I've had experiences where I'm either out of body and my eyes are closed, everything else, and I'm looking up at the ceiling. And I'm scared shitless in some of those experiences. I'm just making a point that I understand this thing of saying religion, but understand you have formal religion that is just ideologies. But you have some people who actually try to get to some level of truth in that. Even if you're talking about scientists and they're investigating those things, like the Virginia UVA investigating out-of-body experiences, like thousands of experiences with these people who are able to recall their past lives. I'm somewhat agnostic. Even in weird experiences, there are things that I want to err towards the side of, but ultimately I realize I don't know what the hell it is. And I realize that there's no way to either prove or disprove. Anybody saying that nothing exists essentially is lying.
Right.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know. So
I don't know.
I usually land on the side of there's no way to know.
Not Ebon, I'm sorry. Jamal, that's your chart.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There I
This is a
am.
cool one too. You're a life path number 9. So let me tell you.
A
this is
number
big-
9?
I don't know what that means.
Big year for you. Life numbers go between 1 and 9. So if you're 9, that means it's a year of completion. There's something big that you're here to do while you're here. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have a yacht chart also.
Here's your Jupiter conjunct Mars that you talked about. Your Jupiter is right inside Cancer, and then your Mars is 29 degrees of Gemini. So that makes it the highest degree planet of your chart, which makes it the emperor of your chart. So Mars is a big deal to you. Action, energy, getting things done is a really big deal in your life. So yeah, there's your Virgo rising right there. There's your Virgo sun. There's your Mercury in Virgo. So yeah, you really identify with the Virgo, but you're an honorary Aries because of that first house. First house is
I
Aries.
always said it. The Aries is a hard dog to keep on the porch.
It is. It's an interesting combination of logic and practical thought and organization, and then that sort of Nike just do it thing. It's like. So
But
here's
mine
why you
is
connected
usually
with Tim.
something that's
You got your Venus and Leo, so very loving, very generous, very open. But honey, you are king of your castle, and if people aren't treating you nice and doing for you and appreciating you and telling you how good you look and how good you did, you're not going to want to be there. You need a lot of praise, a lot of encouragement in your relationship.
I always joke about the Venus Leo aspect. I always joke about it because my wife is like this kind of braggadocious, attention get this. Yeah, it's funny.
The hardest thing I would say for you is that Saturn in the 12th house definitely has given you some big stuff to overcome in your life. That would always be a hard one. You're hard on yourself, and you need a lot of time to yourself to rest and rejuvenate, because when you work a crowd or you put a lot of energy out into it, and you have to get your batteries recharged. It's very, very important. Also, I would say, there's some interesting stuff going on. I don't dig into your personal life, but around the home, I would say home and family, definitely some shifty, sandy shores there. There's some hard things. Some really hard things, maybe even addiction or depression or things like that within the family. And your mom's a Pisces, and Neptune is ruled by Pisces, and that's the mom house, so there's some real big karmic stuff there. But you are super smart. Look at that. Uranus, which rules Aquarius, in the third house of Gemini. This is the communication house. This makes you super bright, super ahead of your time. Yep, that's your revolutionary thinker. That's your futuristic thinker. You're not thinking about what's here and now. You're going, I want to know what's coming that's better. This is a futuristic ideological person. This is not somebody that's content to just say, yeah, it's just going to be good enough. You're like, no, I see how it could be better, and I want to get there. Financial life, lots of ups and downs, sometimes extreme windfalls and then extreme losses. You know, but that's kind of, you've been through it already. You can survive a lot. There's a lot of ability to lose it all and then regain and rebuild, because Pluto is
that's true. That is true.
Yeah. Here's that Aries moon up there, and there's your part of fortune. So you really do make your way in the world by doing your own thing. You come from the same past life group that I come from.
Really? Why now?
Yeah. You and I both are the Aries past lives with the Libra future. So past life in Aries means we were probably warriors, fighters, martial arts, some kind of thing. And the kick about this is that I totally dig it, because I've done martial arts. I've always had a magnetism for it. I always love it just because, and I didn't know why. But then when I started learning more about that, I was like, oh yeah, okay. The thing is, the gift that you've got in this lifetime is to be a people person. You're always going to be talking to people. You're always going to be in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, it's because you chose to, very purposely chose to.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest lessons you learn are in your relationships, because in the past you just cut their head off. No problem. But now you got to talk to them and get along with them and figure out how to make it work. So yeah, it's very tough. Some of the biggest lessons that you and I have to learn because of this is not being self-centered. It's a big one.
I agree. I agree.
You're going to fill your personal cup by giving to other people this lifetime, not taking for yourself. It's a big lesson. But
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's funny. My wife, her moon in the Libra one.
This doesn't get into your progression. This is you on a page.
Yeah, no, that's me. I told you my chart is accurate. My chart is extremely accurate.
Cool.
That's why I always say, whether astrology is real or not, who the hell knows? My chart is accurate.
Well, here's the thing I would say. Astrology's been around a lot longer than astronomy, I would say. Because before...
They used to be kind of linked. They used to be more linked when they were taught way back in the day. It really wasn't so much of a separation.
Yeah, it wasn't until Brahe and Kepler that the two sort of jettisoned.
I see it as the same as the way of, like Christian mysticism or Jewish mysticism got separated from, the basic stuff. So, you got the Gnostic Gospels and things like that, which are, St. John of the Cross, the Christian mystics. They got rid of all that. So the kind of Christianity that people now practice is a lot more dry. They don't get that there is all that wild woo stuff in there,
The woo stuff is the best stuff.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. I'm sure my light back off.
Yeah, the woo stuff is the best stuff.
Which is funny. I think me and Bram are on the page of we're not the woo stuff, but we're like wanting to understand the woo stuff more scientifically.
Well, that's sort of like, it's important to have a combination between, intellect and spirit.
Yeah. And the Stanford Research Institute is one of the good places to see some of the psi experiments they've been doing. There's another one. Stanford, there's another one. But OBEs, I can't stress that enough. It's the weirdest experience you would ever have in your life. And yet it would give you this context of a different perspective in reality. Like it just takes you in a different space. Even when you're talking about lucid dream states.
Right.
And you're interacting with something. And you're like, okay, I'm interacting with this particular being. Is this being a real being or not? Those questions, like, it's hard to kind of put that on a scientific scale. Now, Tom Campbell, and what's the guy's name? Tom Campbell did a lot of investigative research into the stuff with Bob. Oh, the Monroe Institute, Bob Monroe. So, if anybody, Tom Campbell was a NASA physicist. He got into it because he was curious about it, and he himself was going into out-of-body states left and right, including doing research into doing those states with multiple people at the same time. So it will be him and somebody else in a state interacting with one another. Like, those things are fascinating. Like, when you're thinking about it, you're interacting in a different space. Like, for instance, I'm lucid. I'm lucid dreaming. I know I have a body, even though I'm supposed to be the totality of that dream. I have a body. I have eyes that I'm looking through, even though I'm supposed to be the totality of that dream space. And I know intuitively that I have a body somewhere else. That body is somewhere else, even though I'm in a current body. That gets weird. Yeah. That's weird. You're realizing you're experiencing reality in a different way. And then it becomes this, if I have an interaction with something in that body, in that space, was it real?
Yep.
What does it mean for something to be real? I experienced it. I got something out of it. Maybe she told me something. Maybe she, did something to help. Whatever. I had an experience. I've taken that experience back with me. Was it real? What is real in the first place? What makes something real or fake? I don't know, man. I find these questions to be amazing. I don't think it's easy enough to toss them to the side.
And I think that some things in life are just meant to be mysteries. It's like our finite mind can only understand so much. There's just, there's a limit to it because we are limited a little bit by matter and substance and what we see. Even if we are a true believer, there's still that part of it that's like, we can only push the brain so far in some way.
Unknown.
Einstein said
I don't want to believe that. I want to scientifically investigate everything.
Yep, John, Ben, go ahead. Sorry.
I just was saying that Einstein said the most incomprehensible thing about the world is its comprehensibility.
Snork, I can't wait till you talk with him tomorrow. He's a trip. He says, in HFE, we can trigger the experience of OBE with meds causing a touch sense delay where you feel yourself touching 3 seconds later. And then he also says reindeer urine can also trigger extremely fun OBE. Reindeer urine.
I'd rather do one, I'd rather do one without the, but I feel you.
Oh, maybe he's joking. He says reindeer urine induced OBE is what led to belief in elves. I don't know if he's joking or what.
So I want to know who the first person was who thought it was a good idea to try reindeer.
Yeah, I'm always wondering that too for a second.
It's like, who did that? Why did they do that?
It's like the most expensive coffee comes from a civet's poop. So who in their right mind thought, hey, that looks like it'd be great coffee?
If I'm not mistaken, they have them eat the coffee, right? And then they collect the excrement.
Because the civet's ingestion has some sort of property that gets rid of like the acidity in that coffee.
I see.
And then they just wash the coffee afterwards, and then they roast it and all that stuff.
It used to be that civet cats, their musk was what was used. It was very expensive in perfumes way back. I mean, they don't use it anymore. I mean, actually up until pretty recently, because it's kind of cruel to go around, because they now use synthetic musks because that's not really acceptable to people anymore. It's, it's kinda icky.
What about the stuff from whales, the
spermaceti from the sperm whales that they used to use for candles and all sorts of things.
Yeah, they use them in perfume. I forget what it's called. Maybe.
Ambergris.
Ambergris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of those normally animal-derived fragrances and cosmetic things are mostly synthesized now. It's very, very little they actually use.
Bad guano though. They still use that in a lot of makeup.
Oh yeah, and urea, UREA. If you see that in a cosmetic or shampoo or anything, it's urine that's been purified. The Scots actually used urine on wool because wool was a natural softener. So whenever they would weave and do things like that, they would soak it in the sheep's urine, because that would soften the fibers for it to be pulled and woven. And of course, you'd rinse it out afterwards. But it was really a natural chemical that was used.
All right. Steph is heading out. Do you want to say anything before you head out?
Yeah, well, I just got some obnoxious news I got to take care of. I'm like,
Okay.
"Argh." But it was fun chatting with you guys, and
Absolutely.
and
Definitely come
it's
back,
fun
Steph.
to find out that a lot of you are also into metaphysics. I thought I was just like the weird one, but
I'm Stephanie.
Nice surprise.
I'm going to be heading out too. I got to get up early for work.
I didn't know you were here.
Good night, Bram. Good night, Steph.
Good night, Bram. Good night, Steph. Take care. Have a good one.
See
Eric,
you guys again soon.
Evan, Coco,
Also,
Angel.
gonna head out. It's 1 o'clock. It's almost 1 o'clock here. My wife is
Oh, God.
somewhere. I think she's still
Good night,
downstairs. So,
Yeah,
Say good night.
Good night, everyone.
I'm probably going to say goodnight. Before you head off tomorrow, I wanted to say thank you so much for what you do.
Yes.
You honestly are great.
We really appreciate
Part of the reason why I'm trying to set up my own video series for the intellectual left.
Yeah.
Now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I told somebody else I do it because I love to do it. Like there's nothing else. There's nothing backing it. This is how I am in normal circumstances. This is what my wife has put up with. And it's like, all right.
God, you heard
I
her next time.
need from just going to her. She's about to murder me. We were messing around the other night, and she says, "I love these shirts because they smell like a man," and I'm like, "Well, it's not really smelling like a man. That's the deodorant company that makes the deodorant. It doesn't smell like anything. That's the smell you're associated with the thing." Now, of course, that's the way my head works. That's the way I think. And she's like, "That's not the like I'm trying to get free. You're telling me about this stupid shit." There's no there. Like there's nothing. I was trying to make this point that there was nothing. It didn't smell like anything.
Right.
It was a smell. There's no association with anything. You're calling it a man smell because of deodorant. That deodorant is just the deodorant I wear. That deodorant has no claim to being a man smell. Like that was kind of it's easier to do that, and it's saying, all right, distribute some of that energy online because it gets to feel much in person. So no, man, I appreciate it. I just enjoy doing it. Honestly, just enjoy doing it.
Hearing that story just makes me think that I probably am the same way to a lot of my friends.
Good timing, Stark.
Yeah.
Anyway, good night, everyone.
All right, good night, y'all.
Night.
Yeah, man. Good night, guys.
Right.
Oh.
Take care.
Wait, Jamaro. Oh, Snark. That sucks. Right when Snark can get on, Jamaro has to go. That's horrible.
Wow.
You're muted, Jamaro or James.
Until then, I'm the Joey of the group. Everybody knows that. Okay. Did Jamal leave?
Yeah, his wife I think came and get him and said, "Hey."
Oh my God, that's so
It was just, like that's enough. She got the little hook, the performer's hook.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the Gong Show. Remember the Gong Show?
Pain pulled him off the side.
Don't worry, Snork. I'm gonna try to get you and Jamaro on a panel.
Panel. Do a three by it.
Yeah.
So Jamal is talking about you gotta do my. You know what? Now I'm very curious. I mean, if I'm doing this, I gotta let you do that. So if you can, charge me, send me a bill, whatever. Yeah. So, but Jamal is talking about something in regards to, I think it was perception. If you know, you kind of know. You don't know, you do know, something like that. Anyway, so the way I always see it when it comes to reality is if we have 5 senses, some people think we have 6, which I'm sure we somewhat do. If we do the right things, we could evolve and get to really having 6.
Yeah, the 6th one is called nonsense.
Okay. Yeah. It's the 6th one. Yeah. So the thing is if the way I've always said it is if 3 out of 5 of my senses see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, then I'm pretty sure it's true. If 4 out of my senses realize that it's there, then it's pretty darn true. And if 5 out of my my senses believe that it's right there, touch, taste, hear, smell, the whole 9 yards, then it's damn sure very factual. But then I ask myself, what if I'm in a room and my nose is plugged and I've got earplugs on and I can't touch anything, but all I can see as they cart me around a alien spaceship, but I can see everything clearly. So I kind of put myself in a misnomer, I guess, or kind of a bad, how do you say it? What I'm saying is it's all about perception and where you are at and how that contact affects you. So whether you're using one sense or all 5 or maybe 6, it's I mean, like this book, a guy named Max Freedom Long, he was there 1900s, later on in 20th century for a little while, and then he passed away, but he did a lot of work. And I'm going by what this white guy says about his studies of the Hawaiian people.
Right.
And he is more, and based on what my aunties and some of my relatives are telling me this is it. Nobody did this. Nobody else was doing this stuff except for this guy, Max Freedom Long. So so when you have something of just a book from some guy a long time ago, just like the astrology books, they come from a long time ago, people doing these writings and making these calculations and looking at the stars. We are taking that information, and I think we're trying to prove it to be correct, but some of it kind of sinks and some of it doesn't. But the biggest thing is we trust the information. It's how much do we trust the sources? How much do we trust where this information is coming from? So, and I think what Jamal touched upon, and I think which is the most important thing, is if you're oh God, I lost my train of thought. If you're there and you're seeing it, oh God, it'll come to me and I just lost it.
Okay, well, anyways, continue on with that. As a quality assurance engineer, a lot of it has to do with testing. And some of this testing is based on assumptions. So to test based on assumptions, it's a little bit of a guesswork, but you kind of know what's supposed to happen. And if it doesn't, then there's something regards to, is this wrong because of the way I tested? Is the result wrong because of how we tested, or is the result wrong because of the assumptions didn't fit incorrectly? That the assumptions are wrong, so we'd have to revisit the assumptions. And so it's just that's kind of how you would have to test things like that, based on the sources that you're not sure of. As if you assume that it's correct, then you try to test it out. If you assume that it's not correct, then, well, I guess you don't do anything.
As a quality engineer, did you study any human factors engineering?
I'm sorry?
Oh, my mic probably went quiet again.
No, you're good. We can hear you.
As a quality engineer, did you study any human factors engineering?
No, just software quality engineering, pretty much.
Let's fix the previous error that's constantly repeated and is completely incorrect. Humans do not have 5 senses. We have 24.
Shit.
Repeated and repeated. We should
I'm
be
just having trouble with 5.
Yeah, we should be arguing, is it her 25th?
I never would have known that. Snork's here to lay the info on us.
Now, as a manufacturing engineer, I actually specialize. I was a lot of times into the human factors engineering, where you don't only engineer the workstation and how it's going on. You engineer how you're going to have that person think when they're at the workstation. So I was kind of like one of the more evil engineers.
They call. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But anyway, you start thinking about hey, I've got the touch, I've got the whatever. But the more we study senses and stuff, and the more we try to duplicate how a computer reacts in an environment, we try to duplicate what's going on in a human. In the human, some of the senses are, you can tell where your arms are. That's considered a sense. You know the position of all your joints.
Self-awareness, yeah.
Right. And you can lose that sense, and that's called paresis. You can tell how hard you're pushing your muscles. You can tell temperatures and all that. But, back in the old time, they defined, it's touch and it's whatever. But they never really gave much thought into how many really senses are. Just knowing that you're thinking is called a sense. It's a sense of person.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
A lot of the philosophy and literature I read said that
None of us know this crap.
to deny the sense.
I know, right? I'm only saying that just because it's awesome. That's all I'm saying.
If you're going to manipulate somebody, you must know what all their senses are. And since most people don't know what all their senses are, you can manipulate them pretty easily.
Well, it reminds me what you're saying. It's like when you think you're about to pick up something really heavy, but it actually ends up being really light, and then you feel really bizarre because it's like, what? Because you're anticipating it being heavy, and then if you pick it up and it's light, it's like, what? The same as if you've got really long hair and then you cut it and you're expecting for it to be long, and it feels so weird. It's things like that you're kind of talking about.
What about being hungry or thirsty? If you're hungry, back in the old five senses, where does that fall?
Yeah.
Now we're up to like 9 or 10.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I don't think I can sit here.
Let it go.
That's wild. Yeah, but I know. I understand what you're getting at.
You have an awareness of what's around you. You can actually build models in your head, understand where you're going. You start defining these, and the psychology side of it. And human factors is both in engineering and in psychology. When I took the psychology side of it, they were more like, okay, we call those reflexes. Every way that your neurons in your brain are arranged are called reflexes. A reflex is just a group of neuron connections that fire in a given sequence. So they can be extremely complex. They can be extremely small. Do you know where your brain is?
Yeah.
The most forward part of your brain is your optic nerve, your retina. It's actually brain material. There are so many things that we think about us that we've been using the wrong things about. I can remember like one factory I was in. The sort of $4 million machine would only work if I was in the room. As soon as I would leave to go to the bathroom, it would start failing. And I wouldn't be touching it. They'd be watching me. They said, "We don't see you touching anything." And I was called in to observe this machine to see what was going wrong with it. And it would work every time I was there. And finally realized that there was a fan like 150 feet away in the factory, and it oscillated. I'm large. When I was standing there observing the machine operate, I was blocking the wind from the fan that would rotate. And by the time the machine failed, it was rotating and pointing at somebody else.
Oh, that's funny.
So while I'm sitting there observing it for 5 minutes, the fan rotates by and nothing happens. I go, wow, it ran for 10 minutes and it didn't fail. And I'd walk away, bang, within 4 minutes it would fail, because that's how long it took for the fan to come by, and that's how long it took for the wind to go across there. So they'd looked at whether the fan was causing it before, but they said, but no, whenever they looked, the fan's not pointing at it. Whenever it failed, the fan wasn't pointing at it. And it was like, okay, but what's the speed of the air? So, but back to the senses. That's it. I mean, as far as I know, it might even be more than 24 that they've decided on. And whatever you want your robot to do, you have to see, okay, which sense groups do I have to simulate in order to approximate the AI or the robot that's going to be doing something.
It's not just a gyroscope. What I used to think it was all about robotics and keeping a robot stable and upright. I was thinking, well, all they need is a gyroscope and a couple of sensors.
For some.
Yeah, but it seems more complex nowadays.
The number of sensors that you need to get the job done, which ones are appropriate. Generally, a 6-axis accelerometer, well, they don't currently use gyroscopes, but there's an electrical version of a gyroscope you can use these days. And they typically go with 6 axes, so it'd be equivalent of 6 senses.
That's trippy. Yeah, you miss it. It is. So Zork, it's so weird. We were all talking, we've got to get Zork and Jamal together. Because Jamal's very deep, and I'm just like the surface guy that just kind of dangles around with silly things.
It's funny. I have a friend, and I've known him for over 20 years, and he is born in the same year as Jamal. He's almost the same, some very similar astrology, and they are so much alike because they think about all this deep, esoteric spirituality and mysticism and oh boy, all the kind of like existential stuff. Oh my word.
Yes. You reminded me of what he was saying. He was saying he's somewhat of an agnostic.
Yeah.
And I brought this up the other day saying that I don't know. Now it just, you triggered my mind. Triggered!
I got my
That was good, thank you. So what he's saying is that we don't know. I don't think we know for sure what made what. I love that hat. Are we wearing hats right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to get out of hat.
It looks almost like mine, so I put mine on.
There we go.
This is my birthday gift.
I don't mess with my brims too much. It's just my fishing hat.
It's a motorcycle helmet.
I use it to fish, so I don't have to wear sunscreen. I could just use this and
The Annie Oakley hat. I shoot. Oh, James, I love that. We look like we're all ready to go to something here. But no,
I should be tied up to the play set at the jungle gym at the kid park. Remember Michael Myers used to do the. Anyway, I don't know.
That's what you wear, James, to go out and play?
That exactly. So I don't hurt myself. Okay, so what he's saying is we don't really have the answer on who really and what really or how really it was all created. So like I've said before, I'm the guy that says I don't know. If you ask me what you really, I don't know, because I don't think anybody has the concrete, complete answer, because people are going in differently. Just shoestring theory, multi-universe theory. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, James. My feeling is there's truth in a lot of places, but I don't feel like any one thing has the absolute truth.
Exactly.
One of my favorite sayings is the Taoist saying that the finger that points at the moon is not the moon. In other words, you can point at some truth, but this right here, the finger points to the moon, isn't the moon. The finger's not the truth, right? There's a lot of directions, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, or
take your pick.
Spirituality or whatever it is, Buddhism. There's so many good things, but not any single one of them has the whole lockdown on all of it. But I enjoy all of it, and that's why I tend to be. I'm spiritual, but I am a little more agnostic. Because well, I don't know the whole truth, and neither does anyone else.
Yeah,
so let's
that's where I'm
just
at.
chill and have fun with it. Let's not be too worried about what someone thinks, if you're going to heaven or hell, or it's just why are we spending our time worrying about that?
Right. So Zork, I got a question for you, since you may know some people, because you dabble in science, you dabble in engineering, you dabble in everything that we don't, which is good. I mean, all the intellectual stuff. I mean, some of us don't. So, but what I'm saying is, are there people out there that truly believe that multi-universe is more probable than the string theory? And then, I mean, what is
String
the
and
thing right
multi-universe are not separate. Neither is quantum.
Oh, the quantum theory, the string theory, and multi-universe are all
Not separate. Not completely.
Okay.
Quantum and
you guys
string.
all probably do that.
Quantum and string kind of argue a little bit, but we know that if we have a vessel that is completely empty, then it will fill. Particles will start appearing in it, and they will start disappearing in it randomly. So the quantum has definitely been at least kind of proved. One of the things that from earlier, what I was going to bring up is static electricity behind the ears. I can't remember if it's the right ear or the left ear. The right amount of static electricity can trigger symptoms similar to either cannabis or lucid dreams. And it can trigger that sense of truth. So what happens in most dreams is that the area of truth is suppressed. In a lucid dream, it's not suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
So it appears that the during cannabis, it gets triggered into being on, where that's why they constantly get the oh wow kind of. So you have to be very careful with electric fields around people's ears. So there might actually be a reason, a case where the tinfoil hats are good.
Protect you from that electrostatic high.
Yeah. And I took a plant tour of a factory with a guy that's had hearing aids. And some machine was so loud I couldn't hear anything. And afterward, he pulled me aside and asked me what went on, because his hearing aids went out. And he couldn't hear when there was magnetic fields, because it would saturate his hearing aids.
Right. Yeah. So Snork, that's an interesting thought. I mean, I personally have always been an extremely vivid dreamer. I could tell you everything I dreamed last night, full color, feeling, sound, sensation. There's times when I dream that I know I'm dreaming, and I know that if I don't like the dream, I can wake up and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I know ever since I was a kid, I've had dreams from childhood that I can still remember. I've always been an extremely vivid dreamer. And some people aren't at all. Like, they just don't even really remember it, and if they do, they can't recall it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like the direct opposite of that.
You
now
have
me,
migraines?
I was basing it on astrology. I got a ton of Pisces in my chart, which is known for being very connected with the metaphysical, spiritual dream realm.
Do you have a lot of migraines?
No. Mm-mm. I've never been prone to headaches.
I feel like dreams when I'm waking up.
I'm a night person. I'm more sleepy when I wake up. I'm a night person. I wake up, my circulation gets going in the evening more. Like, I'm more awake now than I will be when I wake up tomorrow. So
Same here.
Yeah.
Wait, Ben, what were you gonna say, Ben?
Oh yeah, I just think that dreams are fairly effervescent when I'm waking up, and so do you think that you write your dreams down, or have a dream diary journal, or do you just do it just all purely mentally? Or because I'm just saying, your ability to remember dreams, is that because you exercise that?
Not necessarily. It has no significance. I have gone through times, I've got books full of dreams that I've written down, but I can't say that necessarily it makes them stronger. They're just always that way, whether I write them down or not. The only good thing is that if I write them down and I read it later on, boy, I mean, I can recall it just like I just had it. It's crazy.
I always had a dream journal that I never wrote in it. Unfortunately, my wife gave it to me. But I've had dreams where I know it's the future, and it happens, and I remember that it did have a dream about that. It's a little freaky. but it's I mean right now I don't have that anymore. I don't know why, but before it was like, yeah, I remember it definitely dreaming about it, and it really happened, and
yeah,
it's like
That's
a
wild.
deja vu type of thing.
Do you guys have you guys heard of one of the reasons, or I think one of the main reasons why Carrie Fisher passed away? You guys hear?
Oh no!
Okay,
Tell me
well,
about it.
you guys know that she did a while back,
Yeah,
little
yeah,
months ago or close. Anyway,
yeah.
they believe that it's from sleep apnea.
Huh?
Has anybody heard of sleep apnea?
Yeah,
I
I
have
know
it.
what
I
it
have
is.
it.
I have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
I wear a machine. I'm gonna say,
Right. Yeah.
you know, but I'm telling you right now. Before, when I was younger, and thinner, which I'm sure weight doesn't help my situation. But when I was younger, I dreams great, remembered everything just like you, Ariel, and everything was just came to me. I'd wake up and remember everything, and then all of a sudden, when I was about 30, 40, all of a sudden I was just sleeping, not doing well at work. I was getting headaches, and then I just got diagnosed with sleep apnea. And because what happens is, and they did the study, is that I never reach REM because I'm constantly. I wake up. My study came to I woke up 45 times an hour
Ooh.
because I was choking because
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe.
Right.
So I would wake up, so it never hit REM or actually sleep. And
But you
then,
weren't aware of it.
and then also, yeah, and then also because of that, your oxygen level goes down. It enlarges your heart, and your body doesn't heal properly at night.
Wow.
So there's a lot of it's this is new, but sleep apnea has really been a serious issue for the past like 10 or 15 years. They've connected it to a lot of things. Now, ever since I've used this machine, which is a lot quieter than what they used to be, it sounded like a diesel truck when I had it 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But now you can barely hear it. It's really comfortable. It's not really a big nuisance. And if I get it on for 4 or 5 hours a night, that's great. That's very helpful. But what it does is, I'm telling you, it changed my day. In the morning, I'm just there, boom. And during the day, I'm still moving good and still grooving. But a lot of people do not have dreams that have sleep apnea.
Right.
But I do now, man. I've got some damn good dreams.
I like my dreams. It's like a
There was
movie every night.
something I took in Denmark that extremely vivid. Oh, I thought you meant my microphone wasn't working.
We're doing that for you, Zork.
I have sleep apnea too, and I have a CPAP. I've got the full face, so my kids think that when I go to bed, I sound like Darth Vader when I try to talk.
Wow.
So I can't go more than 50 seconds without stopping breathing. And when I wake up, I've got these mask marks on my face. But I fall asleep almost immediately. When I wake up, it's just like I walk through a door. It just seems like it was a minute ago that I fell asleep.
Do you have dreams now that you use your CPAP?
Rarely ever.
Okay. It could be that maybe it's not high enough. Have you ever checked on it? Do you have it checked out?
I have to have mine checked every year.
Yeah. So do I.
I don't think I have sleep apnea or whatever you call it. I have this thing where I can't really fall asleep until I'm really tired. My body knows it needs sleep, and I'll just sleep. So I don't fight it. Like when I was a kid, I would try to go to sleep, and I'd be awake for 2 hours just trying to go to sleep, and then I'd finally fall asleep, and then that was it. But it'd just be a waste of like 2-3 hours of just laying in bed. I think my daughter might have the same thing, and so but I get really good solid sleep when I need sleep, because like I only need like sometimes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of sleep, and I'm fine. I don't know what that is. If you guys know if there's actual term for that.
I don't know that one. I do know that Pacific Islanders, a lot of them have very stout necks, which also contributes.
Okay. Eric's finally noticed.
Dial triggered.
It's not dark enough, Eric.
Oh.
I can't see it, Eric. There it is.
Oh, Dominic.
Oh, yeah,
Dominic was saying something.
Yeah.
Sleep apnea is a big thing with truckers now. Like when I work with the truckers, it's a federal law. They have to have a DOT physical, and a lot of them are being found to have that sleep apnea, and they have to go through these tests and everything. And it actually, when they first discover it, it actually limits the time that they have on their physical, that they have to come back for a new physical. So
Yeah.
I didn't hear that much about it until I started seeing it with them guys.
Yeah, here it's once a year if you have sleep apnea, and it's once every 2 if you don't.
Yeah, that's what it is here.
Well, there's lots of sleeping disorders. I know that. Ariel, you should be thankful you sleep like a rock and have wonderful dreams.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't say it's that easy because my mother and probably her mother before it, all insomniacs. And I've definitely gone through my periods of time when it's hard to get to sleep even if you're tired. Yeah. Once I get there, it's usually pretty good, but it can definitely be a thing. And I tell you, I swear it's part of my weird woo spiritual sensitivity, but like the last couple nights I was pretty exhausted. It was hard to get to sleep because of the whole just the Philando Castile story and just different things that were coming up. And sometimes I feel it's almost like the weight of the world. It's like I pick up too much on that. And so sometimes I have to really like take a break because it gets to me. It gets to me on a deep emotional, spiritual level. And it can make it hard to sleep. It's like I can feel the suffering of other people, and I hate it. Sometimes, like, oh God, it makes me very empathic, but at the same time, it's like, it just hurts, It makes it hard to sleep.
So Red, so Stevie, you went on a diet, but before that, did you have any sleeping things or?
I don't sleep. I mean, that's something like my family has always been terrible about. Like my grandma, like no matter what time of the day you could call her, she was always awake. And it seems like that's kind of like how I am now. Like I'll sleep like every 3 days or something. Like it's just such a waste of time. I just hate to do it.
Wow.
That's how I feel about eating sometimes. Like I wish they didn't have to take all that time out to eat.
Oh, I wish I had that idea.
It's expensive and it's time consuming. I wish it was like an option rather than an imperative.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'll lay there and I'm like, okay, I need to go to sleep so I can actually function and use my brain. But then I start thinking about all the like research I want to do or projects I want to work on in the house. And it's just, I don't know. It just seems like a waste.
I think getting not enough sleep one night, this is probably a cliche, inane thing to say, but I just think that, yeah, it's pretty obvious. And I had that experience, kind of like drinking alcohol. When you drink more than one day in a row, it's a little harder on me, but like when I don't get enough sleep and it compounds, that's what's bad. I can definitely go like only like 4 or 5 hours, a few days maybe in a row. But I was also going to say that one time I stumbled across a couple different places that saying, or something online, like, saying that your sleep schedule is naturally like 25 hours. Somehow, some way, like the natural human, like
that is correct.
Right. So
if you go,
I had the same experiences as Ebon, essentially. Like I'm almost exactly like as Ebon was describing. So like, I just felt like I just, had like that traumatizing experience of like trying to go to sleep so many times and like staying. Now I'm just like, what? I just like it better whenever, like I know I'm gonna like be asleep fairly quickly, and then just heading to bed at that point, and caffeine, especially recently, caffeine it up.
The normal human sleep pattern is to go to sleep when the sun goes down, sleep for 6 hours, wake up for 2 or 3, and then go back to bed for 2 or 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
25-hour day.
Memorial.
If
Like
you
the birds.
if
That's
you
what,
go west, it's worse. It takes you 1 day for every hour. Or going east, it's 1 day for every hour to recover sleep lag. But if you go west, it's 25 days minus your time. So it's like it takes you almost a month to recover from going west. But
What if I was going to China and I was going to the same place?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on which way I traveled, the jet lag's worse.
Yeah, it was always worse going to China.
Oh, I'm just asking if I was going to the same place. I mean, I'm going to the same place, and then the jet lag is going to be different based on the direction.
You know, it might be. I don't have that much. I know that a friend of mine got stationed in Greenland, and what they had him do when he got there was they took him right off the plane, put him in a room without windows, and they made him sleep for 2 days. And basically, when he woke up, he adjusted right to the time.
Hey, Eric, someone in chat is asking about what does triggered mean. I think you should explain this because we keep putting this up. So now people are like, why are they doing that?
Triggered!
It's kind of about the way certain newscasters who shall remain or not remain nameless get all worked up and angry and loud and overly unctuous about certain news issues. It's like a thing, yeah. Eric would call it a triggered. I don't even know if we're the one. If Eric's the one that started that, but it was hilarious, and we've just got into it, and now it's our funny joke.
By the way, speaking of newscasters, whatever, Stevie is going to be doing a video tomorrow, a live stream actually, her first live stream.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Yep. It's West Virginia's 154th birthday, so I'm going to roast some politicians and, talk about some of the history because, I didn't even know it until fairly recently. I mean, we took West Virginia history here, and they tell us about the counties and stuff like that, but they didn't tell us about the mine wars. They didn't tell us about any of this other stuff, so I'm going to go into all that.
That'd be interesting.
That is cool.
I can't wait.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm going to try to do it like all day. So
yeah.
What, 24 hours?
Well, probably not 24 hours, but I'm going to shoot for 8.
Okay. That's still a long time.
Yeah, well, I got a lot to say. There's a lot to talk about here. There's too many politicians to roast. Don Blankenship has a Twitter. Okay, I just found that tonight, so it's been crazy.
Are you gonna do like 30 minutes, 1 hour segments, or try to do like 4 hours and another 4 hours? Like, how are you gonna break it down?
I'm probably gonna do it like probably by I don't know, maybe like an hour or two, just whenever it feels like natural to do it. I gotta take a break around 2 because I gotta pick my son up from school. So I don't know. I don't know anything about live stream or any of that stuff. So it's just I saw that it was getting close to the 20th, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do this, and I'll just wing it. And I'm like, oh wait, I didn't really think this through.
Yeah. Does West Virginia have like a holiday, West Virginia holiday, or any type of celebration that happens?
Yeah, usually like the politicians will do stuff. I don't really see like too many of the people doing it because they're too busy like surviving. But mostly politicians.
Okay.
Apparently, there is a national internet outage. 7 of the major nodes are down. If you have some problems, don't think that you're doing it wrong. By mid-morning, things should be clearing up. So if it doesn't work, just wait a little while and try again.
Probably that big thunderstorm that I was passing through. Do you think
We've
that's
had
what it
some
was?
big ones this weekend. Oh my gosh. Past weekend and over the week. Woo! Big storms. It rained so hard today. It was like we had a river going back behind our house. It was wild.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Ah, I can't even eat a piece of watermelon.
What?
I was trying to spend the last 20 seconds trying to eat a piece of watermelon.
Oh man.
I just couldn't get it in my mouth.
Watermelon is so good for you. It has a lot of glutathione. It's actually one of the biggest things that you eat when you do like the liver cleanse, the physical body cleanse. That and walnuts and avocados. Oh, all really good for you.
I go crazy
And
for watermelon. Like whenever it gets cut up, I go for it.
Yeah. Watermelon and cucumber both have cooling properties. So they actually, like if it's hot or you feel overheated, those are like the best things to eat because they really do the body.
So the
Very
story,
good.
my story with watermelons is when my mother was pregnant with me. They lived in Houston, Texas at that time. That's where I was born. And my mother just had a crazy craving for watermelon. And it wasn't quite the season, so they got in the car. My dad drove around for like 5 or 6 hours trying to find watermelon for my mom.
Aww.
And they finally found a place, and she ate as much watermelon as she could. And so with that story, that's why I named my daughter's middle name Shubak, which is Korean for watermelon.
Oh, that's adorable.
Cool.
It's really cute.
And I love
mom-
watermelon too, just so you know.
My mom was the thing is she ate with me. She said every day she would get a Mr. Good bar. She had a real thing with chocolate and peanuts. That explains something. Watermelon is very good for you. It's actually I think it's kind of considered a superfood. It's one of those. It's up there.
You were saying, Dominic?
Yeah, name history. There was a guy from Vietnam in the other day, and his name was Nguyen. Is that the way you say it? Nguyen?
Guyan. Yeah.
Huh?
Guyan is
Guyan.
usually.
Very common Vietnamese name.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know the source of that, the origin of that? He said back in the early times, there was an emperor, and he was a ruthless emperor, and he would kill anyone that he thought was a threat to his power. So everybody started changing their name to whatever it is, because that means no man.
Right.
Yeah. But I saw
used
that,
to work with work with a lady. She was Vietnamese, and she grew up in France. So her name was Marie Guyen, and it was so funny because even though she was Vietnamese, she was French through and through. Oh my goodness, she was a total Parisian. She was awesome. I loved her. Oh man.
a lot of Vietnamese speak French.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to food. I think seasonally, what I always love, of course, during the summer, getting into summer is watermelon.
Yeah.
And then getting into fall is chestnuts.
Yeah.
I go crazy for roasted chestnuts. And what's funny is a lot of people don't eat roasted chestnuts. And it's a big song. Was it Bing Crosby?
Oh, yeah.
Sings the chestnuts over roasted. Wait, chestnuts roasted over an open fire?
Open fire. And you know where a lot of that comes from? This is getting into like the old weird, I know it's Celtic, it might have other roots, is that the reason you'd roast the chestnut is because when you'd roast it, it would split open. And they would like divine some kind of fortune out of it. I don't know how or why or how, but it's a thing. Yeah, it used to be a thing that was like a lucky thing, was the chestnut. Yeah. There are still some people that carry those around, like just for luck. Yeah, it's funny. But I think eating seasonally is always a good idea. It's, apples in the fall and, melons and, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, cucumbers, all those kind of summer fruits when it's hot, because those help cool your body down.
And look up the ingredient or the nutrients for chestnuts. They're really good for you. They're probably the least fatty of nuts, and all these vitamins and good stuff for you. And,
yeah. Might be similar to walnut because walnuts are extremely high in E and omega acids. It's actually, if you don't eat a lot of fish or you're a vegetarian, walnuts are one of your best bets because flaxseed is the same way. Like cold pressed flaxseed is tons of omega oils. They're extremely good for you.
I really love sunflower kernels. I go nuts for them.
No, they're really good for you.
I am
This
currently
chickadees sure to live on them. I can't get over the way they are. It's so adorable. They'll come down to the feeder and they'll grab this sunflower seed and they'll just hop off, and I'll see them over there on the branch just taking their beak and knocking the thing open, getting it. As soon as they're done, they kind of wipe their beak on the branch and come right back for another one. If I don't keep that thing filled, boy, they let me know. They get mad.
Snorker, you were gonna say something?
I'm trying to grow watermelon inside right now.
Oh.
What?
It's a berry, so it's something I have no experience in.
Well, it's really easy. A berry, you bury. No, sorry.
But, a few years ago, I had these friends in Kiribati that, because of the king tides, they losing the amount of things that they can grow. So I said, let's see if I can grow some things here without ground. And I strung a clothesline in my backyard. I had like 100-foot wide backyard, and I hung this 100-foot line and had supports in it, and I had all these different plants that I was growing from the trees, or basically on the lines. And the watermelons was one of the funnest things that I grew outside. But now I'm trying to learn how to do it inside.
Wow.
Different plants also not only need light, and they need a certain amount of light at different frequencies at different times of the day. So like some strawberries only will ripen around June 15th. And they right now outside there's a moon called the strawberry moon, because this is strawberry picking time. And you have to realize all these different things that you have to bring in as factors for when you're trying to grow a different type of crop. And with hydroponics, it's mostly just cannabis that there's instructions for.
Yeah, hydroponics. So what's interesting is they have, so gout is very popular amongst Polynesians, according to an administrator, old high school buddy I know. And the reason they believe is the diet. So they now have like the new, it's kind of, I guess it's new. I'm not sure if it's old, but Ariel would probably know that it's the new DNA or genetic diet, which based on your DNA, you should be, or your genetics, you should be eating certain foods.
Oh, yeah.
So the Polynesians, we were raised on taro leaves and pig and chicken. We didn't eat cow red meat because they didn't have cows. And there's just a lot of, definitely nobody's really good on processed foods, but we're just eating, we've just been eating the wrong things for a couple of decades now. And it's starting to affect us in some bad ways. My brother has it really bad. I don't have it. So in my DNA, I can drink vodka all day long and I'm fine. But my little brother can't drink alcohol at all. He gets fleshy. He just can't. And my older brother's kind of okay. But the thing is so I think what we ingest for some, natural foods, organic natural foods are great, but I think there's some that just their diets are their kidneys or whatever, their digestive systems are a little more sensitive to certain foods and the way we process the foods. So, and I think genetics has a lot to do with it. But these new DNA genetic diets are really big right now.
Huh.
I was
Well,
going to say.
there's certain things, and I'm not any kind of expert on that. I really don't know a whole lot about it, but it reminds me very much of like eating for your blood type. which there definitely are some things to that. I absolutely believe some of that is very true, but I think that kind of universals are that, no matter who you are, where you're from, an overage of dairy is never good. Processed meats are terrible for you. Anything that's got nitrates or all that kind of sodium and smoking is just bad for you. There's no getting around it. Frying is bad because of the it oxidizes your food. It gives you a lot of carcinogens and all that. It ups that level. It basically deteriorates any oil. It's like eating rancid oil. It's not good for your body. It's just drinking lots of water is always good. High fruits and vegetables are good. I think a combination of raw and cooked is also important because there are some people that are all into raw foods, which is important because there are enzymes and things in raw foods that are important for you. But if you listen to like Chinese medicine, and they have a lot of advice about foods, is that eating over too much raw food, it can actually produce too much cold in your body and throw you out of balance. So especially if you're having trouble with your stomach, it is better to either steam or cook your vegetables because you'll digest them easier. A lot of times if you're having trouble with your throat or chest, like if you're having, coughing or phlegm, it's better to not eat as much meat. Like if you make a chicken soup, eat the broth, but don't eat the actual meat because that's actually, it creates more warmth in the body. Therefore, you get more of that junk. So there's a lot of, to me, there's a huge connection always between what you eat and how you feel. I always say food is medicine that you take every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What's the other thing, Eric? What do you
So I just wanted to mention that on that note, on
sunflower kernels.
Nice.
I'm with you, Eric.
Points
Those are good.
about gout, that Chinese common knowledge about that or whatever is that you don't eat raw spinach. Always make sure spinach is boiled, and that the other one maybe is less more unique is don't drink beer with seafood. That's their thing. They say it'll lead to gout, so they avoid that like the plague.
Yeah.
And I think this type of topic should be discussed more, especially in mainstream media, because I mean, even Jon Stewart, when he was on the Daily Show and he talks about health and how we're just we're always sick, and if we want to actually make things cheaper and better and things less expensive in the health industry, we just need to eat better. I mean, that's also a big part. When you eat good, you're gonna have.
I mean, a lot of the time, my parents, we didn't have a lot of money to throw around, so we didn't really eat out a whole lot, and so. It's funny. I grew up loving spinach and, things that most kids would never touch. But she prepared them in ways like just, nice salads or, just cut up vegetables. We really enjoyed it. And I think we got a really good balance. So, a lot of times that kind of thing is taught because like sugar's very addictive. The more of it you eat, the more of it you want. Your body will start craving it. It's funny, it's not considered a drug, but sugar acts like a drug in your body, and sugar comes from a lot of places. I know Kelly, she talks about that, where they'll add sugar to things that you would never imagine sugar being in. But my advice really, if you're buying any kind of food that's processed, any kind of food that's got an ingredient list, read the ingredient list, read how much sugar is in it. Like these days, a lot of people doing themselves a good favor by getting these Odwalla drinks, like these green drinks. They're terrible for you. They're mostly apple. Look at it. Drinking apple juice is like just drinking some sugar water. It's, if you want to have an apple juice, eat the apple. Don't drink the juice, because that's basically taking all the fiber, all the pectin, all of the things that make your body process it differently. If you just extract the juice and drink that, it's like it's glorified sugar.
Yeah.
Because what happens in your body when you eat the whole food, it breaks it down, it metabolizes differently. The sugar doesn't hit you all in a rush
And
the
if
way
you-
it does with the juice.
And like the peels, like especially like oranges and lemons, if they're not sprayed with anything organic and whatever, they pack a lot more vitamins in the peel than the actual fruit
Yes,
inside.
fruit itself. Whenever I do, I go for the organic apples. I eat the whole thing. I eat the peel. I eat the seeds because a lot of people are scared of apple seeds because they have that special kind of cyanide in them that actually doesn't kill healthy cells. It kills cancerous cells. So I always eat my apple seeds. I crunch them up. They taste like almonds.
Do you
Taste
have
like a
Do you have some research
Yes.
article or something that you could let us know about that?
I actually could, yeah. I actually have a ton that I did when my dad was so sick with cancer, but it's the same kind of thing. The amygdalin, it's the same deal as what's in the apricot pits. That's very cancer fighting.
Because
Yeah.
what I feel like is mainstream. I hear this stuff all the time, and I realize it's through mainstream
Daddy's
media.
scared of everything.
Yeah, and so if there's something that directly contradicts it, I want to know about it. And then,
Here's the thing, though, Ebon. These kind of things. There was a woman in Canada. She had gotten. Her name was Mary Case, and she had been using this herbal formula that she had gotten from the American Indians or Canadian Indians around, where she had lived, the indigenous people. And it was a combination of 4 herbs. One of them is sheep sorrel. I can get you the formula. Anyway, she was using this out of her house around the turn of the century to cure people that basically had cancer, and it was working. I mean, it was killing the stuff. And so the government wanted in on it. They said, well, we want to get a hold of this and we want to market it and we want to turn it into a thing because it's working. She wouldn't let them have it. So she made it public. She gave the thing away. She shut down her operations. She said, done. I'll let everybody have this. See you later. So the government was never able to lay hold of this old traditional formula. And you can find it. It's ESIAC. It's like her name backwards. You can get it a lot of different places. You can either get the formula and make it into a tea. You can get it in capsules. But every time there is something very effective that's either natural, etc., whatever, they will do every damn thing in their power to either shut it down, appropriate it so they can make a filthy ton of money off of it, or demonize it, tell everyone this doesn't work. Now here's the funny thing, in Turkey, in that region, it's actually very radioactive. There's a lot of radioactivity in that area. So it's actually, I don't recommend eating apricots from Turkey at all. And that's where most of them come from, these Turkish apricots. But the funny thing is, most of the people there's a very low rate of cancer. Guess why? It's because those people are all eating the darn apricot pits. They crunch on them all the time. And those things have all that amygdalin in them. And it kills cancerous cells. So even though they live in a very radioactive area where you would believe, most people would be way more prone to cancer, they're eating these things that actually kill cancer. So they've got a very low rate. But yeah, apple seeds are very good for you. They don't kill you. It's not a kind of cyanide. There's different kinds of cyanide, and it's not the kind that leads to your death or demise. You're fine to eat your apple seeds. You're fine to throw apricot pits into your smoothies and grind them up and drink them. There's places that sell. And you can buy bags of apricot pits.
But you can't buy the pills of the extract. Or isn't it illegal in the United States?
It is, but you can actually purchase it on Amazon and different sites. I actually bought for my dad Novodolin. It's made in Mexico, and it's just a standardized pill form of basically what's in apricot pits. Yeah, it's the same thing. It goes by different names, but like I said, I think I talked about this once before, that if you do a treatment like that, I would definitely recommend getting with your naturopath or a naturalistic doctor, so that you know what you're doing and know that it will even work for you. And because of the way cancer works, it builds up a thick coating wherever it goes, because your body's trying to protect itself from the cancerous cells. So you can't just take this stuff and expect it to work, because it's got that enzymatic protein-based coating that's covering the cancerous areas. So you have to take a combination, I think, of zinc citrate. There's a couple different things that you have to take in conjunction with it, because those will actually help break down that barrier around the cancerous area, so that the other products you're taking will actually work. I did a ton of research when my dad got so sick. It was really scary. It was really sudden, and we're talking about flaxseed oil as being so good. One of the things, and this is something funny, that in Germany they did tons of research around the 10s and 20s into cancer treatment. And one of the best things that you can do, there was a woman who developed, it's called the Budwig diet, and she would take cottage cheese and cold pressed flax oil seed. You really have to get it in the refrigerated section. It has to be as fresh as possible. And she would take this and she would blend it together, till it was almost like a cream texture. And she would feed that to people that had cancer. And it's incredible. It works amazingly well because of the kind of fats that are in it and the way that it absorbs into the cancer areas. I mean, I gave this to my dad when he was so sick. This was a guy who they said he would be dead any day. And they said, you probably got about 6 months to live if you don't do anything, but you could be dead any day because it's this bad. And 4 years later, he's still alive. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All the oncologists were like, what are you doing? It's not, because this is weird that someone with this bad of a cancer, people don't live with that for very long at all. So how are you doing this?
Yeah.
So between the naturopath and between the some of the natural things that we researched, it was pretty amazing. But yeah, I have actually a full email, Ebon. I'd be more than willing to share it with you. I've sent it to people that I know that have cancer or have been diagnosed because I wrote it in a big list.
Yep.
Of different things that you can try that are either natural or different resources, different doctors that are highly recommended from just my own personal experience.
Definitely. And I wanted to show these two books and wanted to make videos of them. Hey, Snort, can you get it back to the gallery view? All right, good. So this one is called Enduring Seeds, Native American Agriculture and Wild Plant Conservation. So it's just a bunch of things about the stuff that was here before and how they cultivated their wild plants, kind of like wild farms, I guess you could say. And then there's Nature's Garden. It's just one of a whole bunch of books. This person does a good thing, good stuff about foraging. Samuel Thayer. Nature's Garden, a guide to identifying, harvesting, and preparing edible wild plants. And I think the one thing is when we just kind of focus on the same types of food that's been cultivated, we just get the same results.
Yeah.
We should be trying out different things, different types of food sources, see how they affect us, see how they what benefits there are, and of course if there's anything that's not beneficial. But
right.
That's that. So hopefully when we do more specific segments, and I think this is great because we just kind of talk about everything, and even from astrology to food to reindeer urine to a whole bunch of topics, and then we can discuss whether we want to do specific segments on those.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's also, I'm trying to remember, there were a couple of good books about fighting cancer and the things that, I mean, these are in some ways, yes, these are very dangerous topics to discuss in some ways because there are huge entities that are very focused on keeping that out of people's knowledge.
Oh,
they don't want people to have it. They don't.
We can't patent a seed.
Oh.
Sometimes. I don't know. I mean, maybe if it's a genetically modified one.
I think if you read any foreword or any preface or whatever, ever, is to read in this Nature's Garden by Samuel Thayer. It's incredible the stuff that he says in this book.
Yeah.
I hope it's right because it also goes into the part where, remember that book in that movie where the guy goes into Alaska and he dies by eating something that wasn't.
Oh, Chris McCandless, Into the Wild.
Yes, and the thing is, he argues against it, and multiple times, and the author changed the reason he died because he because of the things that he does, he says there's no way he could get confused and died
Right.
that way. It's just basic calorie intake and starvation that the person died, and not
Sure, yeah, it was malnourishment.
yeah.
And it's so sad that guy, he was an Aquarius. It's funny. I mean, he went to Emory, right around where I live. I mean, he it's like you can understand why he struck out and did what he did, because he just saw the whole machine and the whole system and what he was going to be expected to do and be. He just checked out. He was like, I'm not just a bunch of shit. And I can totally appreciate that. I mean, he was just like, screw that. He's like, I'm going to get out of here. And he did.
My favorite line in that movie is whenever, in the end, he like really emphasized or found a special meaning and underlined or something like that. The phrase, "call everything by its right name." I like that a lot. It's meaningful to me.
Yeah, it's a really good book, a really good movie, and it's one of those tragedies, but you can understand where it came from. Is because our society really doesn't allow for people that aren't fitting inside the damn box. If you don't want to go be what they want you to be, it's going to be tough. And he could see that. It was like, then to hell with it. I'm just going to go up to Alaska and do my best. I think the problem is, and it gets to that thing again where people are made to work together. And so he tried to go do it by himself, and that's really not really possible. We need each other, and that's what makes humans really unique, is that we're not like cats. We can't just go be Mr. Solitary Hunter. We do need each other. We do have to unify. We do have to work together to make things the best they can be.
It's like wolves and wolf packs. We're kind of the same boat. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
When animals start forming groups, they're more successful at thriving.
Always. Yeah. Yeah.
And-
yeah.
I wanted to say I had this idea. I really like the idea. It's about a reality TV show about herbal hunting, to where like you find patients and coordinate doctors and experts and stuff about diseases or whatever it is. People who want use natural medicine, try natural medicine, and then like you document a whole like little outdoorsy part about like driving down the road, going to the place that it grows or exists, and getting it and how to get it. And so it'd be like a how-to in terms of and how to identify it, extract it, or whatever. And then I just thought it'd be cool because like if you're filming all the while, you might like have something exciting happen on the drive or just whatever. Even I guess banter that didn't seem like fake and contrived or something, but just like something that or whatever it was that would be interesting. Any other animal sightings or different things. So and then what would be fun about it is like if then 6 months later or however much whatever it would be appropriate for this instance that you had like basically a follow-up and multiple follow-ups, and you have multiple examples, and then you can kind of like see and get the results. And then I think building up content, like having lots of like episodes where you cover different like it would just be a theme that you could repeat, like a format or something like a template. And so
like
it'd be really fun. It's just like a lot of investment, very unrealistic and realizing the show.
It's a good idea, Ben. I mean, you can have one where people just kind of go outside, either the backyard, front yard, to local, just a block away, like a field or a forest, gather some plants that they recognize almost all the time, or something new that they don't really recognize during a certain season.
Yeah.
And then so everyone kind of shows what they have, and then you do an episode on that type of plant and all the types of benefits that can be done.
Right.
So it's really wanting to find empirical evidence, and then also because the problem is also being able to know how to harvest it correctly, dry it, prepare it correctly. So if people who wanted to do that themselves, maybe I don't know. Yeah. You do it like one instance by instance and case by case, and then hopefully the results, if the results are positive, then you have that empirical, actual evidence and document and show.
A big thing is in the survival community is a big debate. I think is the what is it? Is it the lotus something root? It's some type of lotus root. I forget what it was. There's this book written back in the 1800s about a specific type of root, and saying that it's really good for survival food because it packs a lot of calories and nutrients and stuff like that. Except everyone who's tried it said there's just no way you can eat it because it just tastes horrible, tastes very a specific type of taste where it's unappealing, feels inedible, and it's really tough and and like kind of like chewing on bark. But in every survivalist type of book that's out there, they say the same thing because someone said it back in the 1800s. The thing is, it looks a lot like a different type of root, the same way that you would get it. It's like a water plant, so you have to go for the roots in like 2 feet of water or something. And
Right.
there's a lot of things like that where once they see it cited in one book that the Native Americans they saw were using, the thing is they could have gotten it wrong, and then now it perpetuates every time that there's a survival book.
Yeah.
They reference that it's edible when it's really not.
Well, what's really sad is that I feel like, I mean, it's my mom, it's like I have the Six Nations from her and Cherokee from my dad's side. But what we're really looking at is, I mean, back in those days, I mean, these groups had complete, old-fashioned pharmacies. They knew what all these things did. I mean, that's where yellow bark comes from. That's where aspirin comes from. They were using that back then, before white people ever showed up. I mean, they knew how to handle a fever and pain and different things that would come up. They'd had a lot of experience using, whatever native herbs and whatever things, were growing right there. And so now I feel like in some ways it's like since all that kind of, a lot of it got destroyed. And what James is talking about, it's really interesting. He talks about it's a white guy that wrote down this indigenous history because most of those traditions were oral. They didn't sit around wasting time because it was like, well, grandma's going to tell you how to do this. And you're going to need to learn it and remember it so that you can tell your granddaughter so that she can do it too. It's very traditional, very, very integrated. So, now that so much of that knowledge has been destroyed, we're back to square one in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And,
because our immune systems are like benefited from a bunch of rugged circumstances and whatever. Like they said there was somebody in maybe a SciShow did it or something. There's some population from like remote like Finland or something, and they cut off occasionally from all contact with anyone else and all food storages, and there's a lot of winters where, and then those people just like have such, like the descendants of people who have that, descendants from them have like such good prognosis and all kinds of like lack of they don't get diabetes as much and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And another thing that I liked is
we could afford. Excuse me, just one second, real quick. They could afford. I just want to say it's my fault. I didn't get around to thinking about it like quickly enough, but just the afterthought. Is that we could just adding to that is just that we could afford to like ignore those things because we just had such a generally robust immune systems and things that maybe being European maybe some people like through a lot of problems where there were all these plagues, there was a selection process or something that like maybe helped the immune, whatever it was. And I think that it was really just something that we could easily neglect. I think there was it was just something. We can do without that. We'll be fine. You gotta know. I don't know. There was an episode. One more thing. Sorry. There's an episode about like how long people weren't aware of a cure that should have already been known. It's like an episode of SciShow about scurvy, which is like somebody documented that they thought like vitamin C took care of scurvy. Like in like you watch. Oh wait, is it SciShow or is it? It's that one guy. It's some kind of like podcast or YouTube channel. He's really popular and he like always has these really deep man. he's really well. Yeah,
it'll come to you. It always comes to me like three to 5 minutes.
Who is that guy though? Dang it!
All right, while you're thinking, for me, it's a lot of kind of moving back and studying a lot of indigenous people around the world that are starting to become more modernized. Is this one person? I think he was a marathon runner. And he couldn't run again. His knees, his back, his feet, and then he researched about some indigenous people in South America, and they don't wear shoes, but they don't have back problems. They don't have hip problems. They don't have knee problems. And so what he realized is it was just they were always barefoot. They walked around everywhere barefoot. So he decided to go there and talk with them, meet with them, and he would be barefoot. And then he realized that his knees started feeling better, his back. He started running again. He would just walk everywhere barefoot, and then if anything, he would make as thin as soled, kind of like slippers, but not quite slippers or sandals, but they hold onto your feet really tight, but they're just really thin, so you don't have a lot of cushioning or padding like normal shoes are.
Right.
And all the issues of back pain, neck pain, knee pain all goes away. And it's because just the way that our feet are designed, it's supposed to be barefoot. And instead we're on these weird...
your
So
toes.
as I mentioned you, it's a Vsauce, and the video is called The Cure We Forgot.
Okay.
But I was gonna say that like I think that I find that people, like, maybe it's an age thing, like people who are like 40 plus, maybe 50 plus, they tend to like know a lot more anecdotes and take a lot more seriously, you know, like discussions with their friends about, you know, problems and just illnesses, diseases, things, how to cope, what to do. This is all kinds of common knowledge out there, but you know, we should really can benefit from, because a lot of things are preventative is the name of the game. But I wanted to share with you a Chinese idiom. I wish I knew I should know the exact in Chinese, but the idiom, it goes like this in English: that long illness makes physician out of the patient. Makes a physician out of the patient. Amen.
Okay,
Oxygen, so
May-
important. Oxygen, yeah.
All right, so yeah, Ariel, it really appears like everything's coming full circle. I mean, is it just it's like all we had all of these processed foods, you know, like I was telling you guys the other day, the Polynesians, they probably had one of the purest diets out there for a long time until the missionaries came.
That's right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we're starting to figure out, and I guess Michelle Obama doesn't get it yet, because I guess she still supports Monsanto. She's pushed. It's weird about her, because she was pushing great lunches and kids to eat better, but all the fruits and vegetables were coming from Monsanto.
Anytime a politician starts pushing a diet plan and you think it sounds like a good idea, you gotta dig a little deeper. Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah.
Just gotta let it go like this.
Here's the thing. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, but sorry. Last but not least, so I think we are coming full circle. Like, here's something interesting that happens in California a lot. I don't know if this is happening all over the place, but there's called pick freely or something of that nature, where if a fruit plant or something, a vine that has fruit, is hanging over a wall into a public area like a sidewalk, you're able to pick those fruits. So there are actual groups that are going all over the place to find fruit and vegetables for the homeless, for all kinds of people, which is really interesting. And they're just grabbing this food. And because I'm seeing that, now I'm seeing fruit all over the street. I see oranges and avocados, and I see lemons, and I'm just like, oh my God, I could fill up the back of my truck with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when I lived in Oregon, the blackberries are so prevalent.
Blackberries.
That in the summertime, where I lived, my apartment, we had this big nature area, and I mean, it was just forever. You could just walk, take a bucket, and just, I mean, nobody cared. And the cool thing was it was off the street, so you weren't, you know, sometimes it's like, that's the only thing I would caution against is, you know, if it's by the street or by a heavily trafficked area, I mean, a lot of it's picking up a lot of that junk and the, you know, exhaust from the cars. You have to kind of be careful of where you take it from, just because of that, because of external pollutants.
I love the blackberry bushes in Pacific Northwest. It's awesome.
And you can testify for their existence, their prevalence.
Yeah, and like, it's funny when I go to the market here and I see just a little pint of blackberries, and it's like $8.99.
I know, and you're like, but I could get a bucket for free.
I know.
That's what sucks here in California. Fruit is so expensive. An avocado, which is weird because we grow avocados
I
like
know.
right over here, but they're like $1.50 to $2 for an avocado.
Wow. Well, I think my mom was saying the other day, she said avocado prices are going up. And because a lot of them also come from Mexico, and they've had a lot of trouble with climate. I mean, climate change has made a massive impact on a lot of our food production, and that's not going to stop. That was the other thing I was really depressed about. I was reading about how there was a level 4 earthquake in Greenland, and this was just like a day or two ago, and it caused like this big tsunami. And I mean, this is unheard of stuff. The ice is just about gone there.
Yeah.
And like I said this before, that we're potentially looking at an ice-free Arctic, this summer. And we're really coming down to crunch time. There's no getting this stuff. We're living in an age of consequences, and we have no precedent. There is no recorded time, and humans have never existed on the Earth without that ice being there.
Yeah.
So whether or not we'll still be here after it's gone, we'll see, but we don't have a precedent of being here without it. So it's pretty scary.
And another thing about the picking stuff that's public, one thing I learned in community garden is peach trees, that you want to prune at least a third of the peaches that are growing off of a peach tree, so that the rest of the peaches can grow and get to be, bigger and better tasting.
Yeah.
It's like
Stuff
There's
you don't
a
know. Documentary I watched on Netflix. I'll look it up and I'll see if it's still on there, because I'll share it with you guys. It's all about food waste, and it will make you sick to
John
see
Oliver's piece already made me change more aware.
Just because fruit or vegetables have a little blemish on them, they won't even take it. They'll just throw them out. They won't even go to market. And in Honduras, they got really deep into the banana trade. Woo! They don't even like bananas in Honduras. That's the funny part. They really don't like them. They're sick of them, probably. They're like, damn bananas. They don't keep them to eat them. They
subtropical. It's perfect.
And the bananas that we eat, it's just one strain of hundreds of types of bananas that are out there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the same deal. They won't sell them if they look bad. I'm like, you know what? I smoothie almost all my bananas, so give them to me. I don't care if they're beat up. I don't care.
I have banana daiquiri mine, so we're good.
Well, guys, I'm gonna take off. I gotta go get exercise. I need to.
Triggered.
Yes, I need to go do some cardio. Triggered.
Triggered.
All right, yeah, it's a good time to log off. We've been at.
Worked out. I need it.
Aside from after hours, this Anything Goes session lasted 3 hours and 17 minutes.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Okay, well, good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys for this. I appreciate it.
Thanks for hosting, Eric. And,
no problem.
everyone in chat, good night. Bye.
Bye.
Aloha.
Bye, guys. Take care.